I'm meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
A longtime newsman with an opinion, a proud dad, an American, supporter of our veterans and active duty military. Common sense discussion begins now. This is the Steffan Tubbs Show on News Talk 710 KNUS. Breaking news on 710 KNUS.
As Tom mentioned just a couple of moments ago, the nation's latest school shooting, this in Uvalde, Texas, which is just about in the middle between San Antonio and Del Rio, Texas to the west. So this is west of San Antonio. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, as Tom just mentioned, confirms 14 children and a teacher are dead in an elementary school shooting. Not how any of us want to begin our 3 o'clock hour Mountain Time. And I just really don't even know what to tell you. Don't know what to say. Don't know what to say that has not already been said out of my mouth to your ears or whomever is going to speak about it. Right now, no doubt, they pull out the so-called template. See how many politicians do the following. They will issue their thoughts and prayers, just like they did in the last dozen or so mass shootings in this country. Some will then call for gun reform. Some will develop a hashtag on social media, in this case now, Uvalde Strong. Many will call for gun control. Many in the media now scrambling to get a flight to San Antonio so they can drive west on State Highway 90 and get to this small Texas town that within the last few hours has experienced another United States massacre. According to the last census, this is a town maybe approaching 20,000. But again, the breaking news, 14 children and a teacher dead. Let's join our partners at CBS News for the latest on this out of Texas.
They just could hear screaming, and then there was like a silence after that. I guess where they were all hiding. I guess the teachers were probably telling everybody to get down.
Because they've been trained.
Yes, I know the teachers, they go through a training to when stuff like this happens, where they have to lock the doors and get under the desk.
Derek, you mentioned that you're very close by to this. There's the funeral home. Can you tell us a little bit about your community?
Yes, the community where I live in, Uvalde, Texas. It's a community like it's a small community where we're all together, and in the neighborhood where the school's at, everybody knows each other. Everybody has grown up around there, and we're always there for each other. And when we heard all this, all the neighborhoods started coming out, running to the school, because we know everybody has family there at the school.
And what was your first reaction when you heard the shooting? Did you immediately know what it was?
Yes, because we here in Uvalde, there's a lot of activities to go like hunting and all that. But I knew we're not in hunting season right now, so I said this is not something like somebody's doing to like sport activity. It's somebody shooting for real. So that's when I knew there was something going on.
All right, Derek Gonzalez, thank you so much. We're glad to hear the good news that your relatives are safe. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Just to update those of you who are joining us, Governor of Texas Abbott has confirmed that 14 children and one teacher have been killed in an elementary school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. That's about 80 miles from San Antonio. There are also as many as a dozen other children being treated. Blood is being sent into the area to deal with the wounded. I'm here with Catherine Herridge. Catherine, we've been talking about the federal law enforcement response to this. Do we expect that agents are already on the planes headed there?
I don't want to speculate in this situation, but based on my experience, they'll try and assist with the personnel they already have on the ground because, like in many states, they have fusion centers and joint terrorism task forces where they have essentially federal officers who are in that state. So that's what I would expect first and foremost, as opposed to surging assets in from Washington because it's so time consuming. But they're going to be taking the same kind of procedure now that the suspect has been identified, doing a scrub of all of their social media so that they can build a profile, try and understand whether this person acted alone, whether there was premeditation, it was sort of a flash to bang situation where it was precipitated very quickly. But I think most importantly, the access to the weapons. This person is 18 years old. We're doing our research on what the carry laws are in Texas. I think based on the reporting I'm seeing so far that it's actually 21. Okay, so he's 18 years old. So how did someone who was 18 get a hold of at least one, possibly two weapons to use at an elementary school? So these are all of the sort of the backward tracing that federal authorities can do to support the locals who are really dealing with a very human situation right on their hands right now.
Kathy Guider, retired special agent, is with us. Kathy, Catherine just mentioned that delicate balance of the FBI wanting to get in and move as quickly to find all the details of the crime as possible, while you also have a community that is in shock and grieving and overwhelmed by this. How do FBI agents carry out that balance?
Well, she was correct. They're going to use agents on the ground, like from the San Antonio office or the Houston office will come in. And, you know, FBI agents go through excessive training every year on all different kinds of topics and a lot of training in the academy. So, you know, they know how to balance dealing with victims versus dealing with the suspects. And they're going to do, you know, what they need to do. And there's going to be many. Some will be dealing with the suspect's family. Some will be dealing more with the firearm side of it and assisting ATF possibly. Some will be dealing with the social media side. So everybody has a role. They'll know their role and they'll, you know, fit in there and all work together.
Kathy, the social media side, this is clearly a part of these shootings that we've seen increasingly as a part of our culture, the attempt by those perpetrating them to get attention. How does the FBI think about that as a part of these kinds of incidents?
Well, there's several different types of cyber squads within the FBI. And so you have more of the forensic nature that works on the background side, the back side of it. And then you have those who deal more with the information processing. So they're going to look at all aspects of it to see how often he posted, what platforms he posted on. And, you know, as we know, like this generation, the 18-year-old, that's their kind of their life. That's how they communicate for a lot of the time, is putting stuff on social media and out in public source. So all of that is going to be reviewed to kind of see what was his pattern, what was his history, and how did it lead up to this day and time.
And Catherine, we can imagine also, we've been talking about the federal response. We can imagine that this will be something that the president, he's overseas, but after having gone to Buffalo, President Biden, this has now become a part of the role of the modern presidency to speak to these kinds of moments that tear open a community and infect the whole nation.
And as we discussed earlier, there is that bigger context picture. Just this week, we had this FBI active shooter report that found that between 2020 and 2021, we saw an increase of over 50%. And if you go back to 2017, so this pre-pandemic period, we see an increase in active shootings by 96%. And last year, 61 across 30 states. So this is not just concentrated in one part of the country. This is really diffuse.
And did the report mention any of the causes for why those numbers are up?
Again, I don't want to speculate. I would like to look a little bit further because that was.
You're listening to
question.
live
What is
breaking
the
news
context?
coverage here on 710 KNUS. If you are just possibly joining us and you have not heard, the nation's latest mass shooting, the nation's latest school shooting, 14 children dead, one teacher, many other children said to be injured and at hospitals right now. You heard maybe a few moments ago during our live coverage from our partners at CBS News that they are rushing to get blood into this small Texas town about 80 miles west of San Antonio. From just moments ago, Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
The shooter was Salvador Romas, an 18-year-old male who resided in Uvalde. It's believed that he abandoned his vehicle and entered into the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun, and he may have also had a rifle, but that is not yet confirmed according to my most recent report. He shot and killed horrifically, incomprehensibly, 14 students and killed a teacher. Mr. Romas, the shooter, he himself is deceased and is believed that responding officers killed him.
Governor Abbott from Texas just moments ago. So where do we go from here for purposes of our program? Thoughts? Prayers? How about this? I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. I cannot help but at one moment be heartbroken again, and at the same time just go, where's the next one? Everybody will say the same things that they said. How far back do we go? For those of us here, for those of us who were a part of it, for those of us who remember, it goes back at least to April 20th, 1999 in Columbine, of course. But how many school shootings since then? How many mass killings since then? You are kidding yourself if you feel that this is it. Now things will change. Enough is enough will be said over and over. But I always want to be as disgusted as I am about stories like this. I always do, especially when it comes to a school that's involved and innocent children. I want to be cognizant of the community where we live. And it seems like on this program, every year of the Columbine anniversary, I feel like it's my duty to say, for those of us that then on something like this, you think back to Columbine or any of the other school shootings in Colorado or the massacres that we've had here. Those of us in positions like me, we can tell you about the anniversaries. We can tell you about events, but I think it's always worth saying, and I've tried very hard to remember to do this, just because it's, say, the X anniversary fill in the blank for Columbine, that doesn't mean that there have been families that are, in essence, sadly, they have been ruined forever. They think about their loved ones every single day. And we have not even had a chance in this country, in the Northeast, to let the Buffalo massacre settle. You want to go to that live right now? This is a police briefing right now on the Texas elementary school shooting. Let's go there live.
At this time, we are only making a statement, and we will be releasing more information as the investigation continues. We appreciate your courtesy. At this time, it concludes our press conference. Thank you.
We were just listening there to the report from the local Uvalde police, affirming some of what we already know, which was that at 11:32 local time, there was a mass casualty event. That's about 5 hours ago. The suspect acted alone, they say, and that's about all we got. They took no questions. Governor Abbott of Texas has previously reported that 14 children and 1 teacher were killed in the elementary school there. We also heard from the press conference just now that the grades were 2, 3, and 4 in the elementary school there. You're
listening to live breaking news coverage here on 710 KNUS. Steffan Tubbs with you, and we have our break that we will take coming up in just a matter of moments. We will get an update from our partners at CBS News in a CBS News special report. Texts already coming in. Thank you. We'll get to phone calls as best we can. 303-696-1971. And thank you for the text that I did see, talking about the desensitization of, sadly, events like this now in the United States of America. Are you desensitized to this because you know the playbook? Let's go live now to our partners at CBS News. And apparently we're having trouble with that. 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. No, we're not taking it now. Well, we'll get, as we handle things in a breaking news fashion, and please just give us a little bit of grace. If you are just clicking on the suspected killer, I will never, ever, as a matter of standard practice, I will not give you his name. You're a click away on the internet if you'd like to learn more. I will tell you that the suspect is dead, and he ain't no suspect, is he? Now, he's the man that killed at least, and young man at that, 18 years old, killed at least 14 students and a teacher earlier today in a small Texas town at an elementary school. So you tell me, are you desensitized by this to where this is zero judgment? But is this some kind of story now in our country where I go, boy, we're live and local. We're Denver, Colorado, USA. Sure sucks that there's been yet another school shooting. But you know what? We got a lot of other things to talk about. Now, see, that as a newsman just does not seem right to me. Trust me, there are stories I'd love to right now, and maybe we will later in the program. I get it. But there are updates on the comrade from Aurora who continues his French vacation and had the audacity last night during the Aurora City Council meeting to actually zoom in live from Paris. See, I'd love to talk more about that. He called Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman, well, not horrible things because they were on social media. The Aurora Sentinel. whenever it comes out, whenever the editor decides that he's going to use it as as Danielle Jurinsky has said, his personal blog, he called the mayor of Aurora, Mike Kaufman, United States veteran, mayor of Aurora. He called Kaufman Mayor Karen in a column today. See, I'd like to talk more about that too. Tay Anderson, Colorado's biggest racist, Fat Tay, is in the news because apparently some Northfield High School grads this past Sunday, just a couple of days ago, refused to shake his hand, may have even been the recipient of an F-bomb, like F you, and refused this from a student. Well, Tay now, of course, what do you think he does? He turns it into, they're doing that because I'm a black man. It's a race thing. See, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But do we do the story justice from a couple of states away, in a state, in an area where this, whether you want to admit it or not, school shootings, especially in some of our communities in Colorado, this is a trigger. These families, no matter how much assistance, a visit from the president, how much counseling they go through, their lives are ruined. But what do we do about it? I don't know. You tell me. Help me out. We'll take our first break. Still have to pay the bills. But you tell me. You be part of our programming decision today. Can't say that 100% guaranteed we'll follow your suggestion, but you never know. So why don't you do this? Give us a phone call, 303-696-1971. You tell me how you want this to be covered today. You want to talk about the Avalanche? Well, we're not a sports show. You want to talk about gas prices? You can text us as well. If you cannot tell by the sound of my voice and you have given me at least a little bit of grace and you haven't tuned out, if you are watching on YouTube right now, over the last 45 minutes, my attitude and demeanor, as it should, and I hope that at least for some people, I'm not trying to ruin your day, but my God, once again, here we are. And it is sadly, friends, you know it. The president knows it. Every single person paying attention to this type of story knows it. This is now simply a reset. And the clock is now ticking to the latest, next mass shooting and or school shooting in this country. But I am just deflated. I am so done with having to report as part of my duties and bring these types of stories to you. What do? And you know what? We keep it civil. I am not going, if you called me up right now, and I'm not trying to challenge you, or if you want to text, if you want to tell me that, you know what, yes, of course, this is tragic, but I got to be honest with you. If I'm honest with you, I am desensitized to this. You tell me. 303-696-1971. Text the studio via the 710 KNUS app.
An accident on southbound Broadway at Bayard. It was blocking traffic, slowing traffic back to Ellsworth. So avoid the area if you can. Also an accident at Park Avenue West and Wewata. And in Aurora, an accident eastbound Mississippi on the ramp to southbound 225. I'm Chris McLaughlin.
This report is sponsored by Denver 7 News at 6 p.m. Expect more from your local news.
Denver 7 News at 6. It's local news done differently. Denver 7 360 reporting goes in depth on the issues that matter to you. Weeknights at 6. Watch Denver 7 News.
It's springtime in the Rockies. Come and explore beautiful Carbon County, Wyoming. There's no better time of year to enjoy the natural mineral hot springs in Saratoga. Soak your bones in the healing waters of the Hobo Hot Pool, free to the public and open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For information and directions, visit WyomingCarbonCounty.com or call 324-3020. Carbon County, Wyoming. Get your West on.
Get the inside scoop on weather happenings across the region with the Day Weather Podcast to get the inside story on what is really happening with weather patterns and climate across the Rockies and High Plains. It's not just a forecast, but also the nuts and bolts of what is going on with the weather and why. The Day Weather Podcast will give you insights on what drives our weather and climate without the hype and misrepresentation so common today. Find the Day Weather Podcast on iTunes, dayweather.com, and many other podcast platforms.
Hi, Steffan Tubbs for my friends at the Black Eyed Pea. If it has been a while, even though you hear me talk about them all the time, it's totally genuine. I love this restaurant. Based here in Colorado, operated by Mom and Pop, Steve and Michelle. There are 9 Colorado locations, likely one near you. The meatloaf is terrific. The grilled salmon still is my go-to. It is just outstanding. Get it Cajun style or lemon herb. They've got senior discounts and daily specials, of course, military discounts. How about soup and salad or a great burger? They have delicious sides. In fact, more than 30 of them, including the delicious mac and cheese. For dessert, save room for the incredible banana pudding or the 1-pound mile-high chocolate cake. If you're looking for a job, they're still hiring all positions, blackeyedpeacolorado.com. Tell them Steffan sent you. You will love everything about this restaurant like I do. Keep it in Colorado. It's the Black Eyed Pea near you.
Perfect air with a personal touch. Only Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc. can give you authentic Lennox quality and service. They're the people you know and trust right here in our community. And for a limited time, they're offering up to $1,000 in rebates or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Lennox system for as little as $132 a month. To get quality Lennox equipment with trusted service provided by Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc., call 303-777-1234 today or visit them online at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details.
The Tree Farm's Memorial Day sale going on now. The Tree Farm has been family owned and cared for since 1980. Now get 25% off all sizes of flowering shrubs, including lilacs, spirea, rose of Sharon, and more. 3-year-old old-fashioned purple or white lilacs, now just $55.96 each. Visit thetreefarm.com. The Tree Farm's Memorial Day sale going on now. Come
You
see.
take I-25 to exit 235. Then 5 miles west to the Tree Farm.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
New concerns in Aurora about how their taxpayer dollars are being spent. That news coming up on.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710, KNUS.
If you are just tuning in, the breaking news out of Uvalde, Texas, about 80 miles west of San Antonio. At least 14 elementary school students dead and 1 teacher dead, others injured. The killer is dead, described as an 18-year-old. Are you desensitized to this information? If you are, by chance, you just clicked on and you didn't know about what I just told you, what's your instant reaction? I don't ever want to put words in your mouth or thoughts in your head besides thoughts that, you think about. I'm not trying to tell you and convince you. This is a talk show. It's back and forth. You certainly get damn near 20 hours a week of my opinion, and I get a lot of yours. But if you are just thinking about this, are you desensitized to it? I don't know what I feel. I know I've shared that I have covered 7, 8. I don't even know. I honest to God, I don't even know how many school shootings I have covered personally, in person. Now, when it comes to stuff like this and school shootings in other states, we've got to be more than 2 dozen. But I just responded to one of our Mr. and Mrs. texters. They didn't even remember Buffalo from just a couple of weeks ago, if even that. And I just simply texted back, I understand. It's one after the other. You had the Buffalo mass shooting at a supermarket. You had last year here at the King Soopers in Boulder. You have this tragedy today. I'm sure I'm missing some. But what do you do? Of this month, Matt? Matt had brought up a great point. He said, looking at the calendar, it's Tuesday, May 24th. These kids cannot have been too many days from being out of school for summer. And Matt just confirmed their last day of school was day after tomorrow. If you are just joining us, we're going to get to phone calls. You tell me. I am in a deflated mood. I don't need you to lift me up. I hope, in a sense, I hope you're deflated as well. But I get if you're desensitized to it. Even in Colorado, with all of the crap we've seen, the tragedy, the misery. But you tell me, how should we cover this? I'm going to place the burden, at least partially, on you. You tell me. You want to talk about the Avs last night? You want to talk about Russell Wilson buying a really big house? You want to talk about Comrade Marcano still in France? Fat Tay, Colorado's biggest racist, is in the news. But at the end of the day, none of us can escape the fact that we live in this society where this is not going away. Now, look, before we get to phone calls, and I promise we will, I want to say one thing because I've seen text after text already coming in, and I appreciate you, friends. What I don't like is the knee-jerk reaction from some of you, and I know there are things you don't like about me, but that is the beauty of talk radio. Text after text after text after text coming in within the last 10 minutes or so. Do any of you that were calling for armed teachers at this elementary school, do any of you know for certain right now that there wasn't? The answer would be no, because you're not there. So pump the brakes. With that said, with proper training, if I could get every teacher in this country a weapon with the proper training, all the better. So don't act like, well, he doesn't think that teachers should be armed. Bull. Arm them, train them. But why do some of you automatically go to that and you spew out the text without even knowing the facts? Well, this wouldn't have happened if the teachers were armed. Well, how do you know? Be smarter is all I ask. I'm on your side. Arm them all. Arm them all. And if somebody comes in on that campus and even flashes a weapon, shoot them between the eyes. Then ask questions later. Period. Because until you have that kind of attitude, this truly will never stop. But please, just don't be stupid. Because you don't know, you're not there, you weren't there, and there is a possibility, maybe it's remote. Friends, it is Texas. Don't just automatically spew out a text like, well, have they had you don't know. I'm not there either. But you don't know. So be smarter. Jim in Littleton, thank you for your patience and welcome to a really crappy day of radio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Steffan. These nightmares just never seem to go away.
I know.
My kids were at STEM when that shooting happened there, so
I'm so sorry.
hits us really hard. One thing I will say is I don't know about if there were any armed teachers or anything like that, but I can only speak from STEM's point of view that they really tightened the security around that school going forward. And to create it, to make it like what we have to go through, I mean, from the point of view of security of the airports, of one area to go in. And, you know, I dare say, I bet this person did go through a side door or something like that. I'd be willing to bet in order to avoid detection.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's the strongest thing. We have to have our schools treat them with the same seriousness as we treat our airports.
Jim, I couldn't agree with you more. And, you know, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. First and foremost, before I get to that, I just want to say that as a human being that cares, my heart goes out to families like yours that have this reignited. And how could it not? So as a Christian man, to you, I just want you to know, for what it's worth, that I feel for families like yours and individuals like you and the tragedy that happened at STEM. And I've already texted our friend John Castillo. I've texted our friend Frank DeAngelis, the former principal at Columbine, you know, and I just don't understand how this couldn't be anything but taking you all back. Now, with that said, I just don't know. I mean, at some point, I'd like your take about, you know, this desensitization, because honestly, while I don't want anybody to ever have this be ho-hum, I kind of get it if it is.
I would say that you have to come to the point of when you go to a school, not only do you think about what kind of teachers I have, but you need to look at the school and see what kind of security I have and put it at the same
Very
level
true.
from now
Yep,
on.
yep.
And if you don't see the security there, then you maybe even not have your kids go there.
Right. And I
think
mean,
we have to keep it at the same par.
Yeah. And Jim, you know, you mentioned about the same security as the airport. You know what? Absolutely. Because at what point, when are we going to realize that, you know, we all say, we talk a big game, that our kids are the most important part of this country. They're the future generations. They're going to be running things, but we don't have, I mean, and then, you know, metal detectors at every school. There's always none of this, no matter what the legislation is, no matter what I say, no matter what we talk about, will never stop mass shootings ever. Even if they took away the Second Amendment, there would still be mass shootings. But at the same time, I mean, we talk a big game. The politicians are right now crafting their tweets of thoughts and prayers. But in the end, how about this? We make schools. I don't care if you are in the most bucolic, leaving your house unlocked, cars are never locked. This, we all know the cliche, this can happen anywhere. We must tighten security at schools, and then there's still a possibility it happens again.
I agree. I just think that until we take it as serious as we take our airports, these nightmares will reoccur. And it just is disgusting, to be honest with you, that this happens at an elementary school.
I know. Listen, I'm praying for you, and thank you, Jim. God bless you, and for your family reliving a parent of kids at STEM. You know, here's a great text that just came into the studio, and thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Texter. When it's adults, I'm desensitized, but children, and I have 4 who lived through Columbine, I want to cry, but no more tears. Wow. Gary joins us from Centennial. Gary, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Steffan. How you doing?
Other than crappy, yeah.
Hey, you got a precedence here that you could set on your show, and it's one that just drives me nuts every time this happens. Let's stop calling these guys killers and call them what they are. Murderers,
domestic terrorists. Hey, at least hold on a minute, but I get it, but give me a little bit of credit. At least, you know, on this kind of program and 20 hours a week in this time slot, give me at least a little credit. I never say these murderers' names.
No, I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that. I'm just saying, you know, let's get the term right, because that would go a long ways too, because they're not killers, they're murderers.
Fair
He's
point.
a murderer.
Yep.
The cops killed him, if that's what happened.
Right.
But
I get
he
you.
murdered everybody that was a victim of his.
Yep. No, without a doubt. Are you desensitized at all?
Unfortunately, to a certain degree.
I get it.
I mean, it just when it's like an elementary school in particular, that really gets to me because those are, you know, these are little kids.
You can't get it. You can't get any. Yeah,
grade.
you can't get any more innocent. I mean, my God.
No, it's just like that scumbag that broke in and killed all those kindergartners and those little kids. I forget what. I don't even remember the school's name anymore.
Sandy Hook. Yeah.
Sandy Hook, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just,
I get it, bro.
And it's a societal problem too. It's, you know, but man, it just, I always see it in all the media. You know, you're going to see it today. You'll see it on CNN and all these channels. Oh, the killer. It's a murderer.
You know what? I'm filing that away. And I appreciate that greatly because Gary, thank you, is exactly right. I think some of you would probably say, come on, it's semantics. I get it. The fact of the matter is 15 people were murdered. Final call before the break. Bob in Lakewood joins us. Bob, good afternoon to you and thanks.
Hey, how we doing?
Not good.
Not good. I am one desensitized mofo. I would rather have you talk about Fat Tay and his problems than the mouthpieces that are soon to be flooding the airways talking about more gun control.
Isn't that true, though?
Stop it.
Yep.
Stop it. I mean, I'm finding more of this stuff happening during a Democratic reign than Republican reign.
I don't know if I mean, this is obviously a talk show and I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I just, at this point in our society, I don't really honestly think that anybody can prove besides that, well, this happened when this guy was president. I don't know if it's certainly not slowing down under the Biden administration. We both would agree on that, but it didn't slow down during Trump. It didn't slow down during George Bush. It is a societal thing, as you say.
Yep. And I'm not, my heart goes out to the families and the children in Texas.
Yeah.
But, you know, come on. It's going to be, well, we had another one.
No, absolutely. Bob, I mean, and thank you very much. Got to get to a break. Sadly, he's exactly right. I have said probably since, we're probably going on 20 plus years. I didn't say this after Columbine, but you know what? I kind of thought about it after Sandy Hook and probably many others before that. You can have your hashtag, something, fill in the blank strong. You can send your thoughts and prayers via social media. You can have your Democrats especially lead the charge on gun control. Common sense legislation, they will say it's over and over and over again, the same damn thing. The same. So you help program. There's one Bob vote for talking about Fat Tay, Colorado's biggest racist. So we will put that in the hopper. If you are facing hair loss, you're looking for a simple solution that works, you can simply make one phone call. That might be the hardest part. You can set up your free consultation with our friends at Advanced Hair Restoration. Find out if that bald spot that you've been trying to cover up, receding hairline, or even just the fact that you have thinning hair, maybe it's optional. Yeah, truly. Imagine the relief of just knowing that a full head of hair is a real possibility for you. Advanced Hair's one-day treatment begins growing in your own natural hair the very next day. It's backed by their industry-leading guarantee. They can address decades of hair loss in just one day. It is incredible. Advanced Hair's exceptional standard of care also makes it the perfect time for you now to pursue your needs. So do yourself a favor. Set up that free consultation. If you choose to move forward, you're also going to get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 720-459-HAIR. Their process is really incredibly simple. Making the call, as I said, probably is the biggest hurdle. 720-459-HAIR, 720-459-HAIR, or check out the before and after pictures It's advancedhair.com.
News Talk 710. Update.
It's 53 in Denver, going down to a low in the mid-30s. The 710 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, as you've been hearing on Steffan's program, Texas Governor Greg Abbott confirms 15 are dead after a shooting at an elementary school, 14 children and one teacher. The shooting took place at Robb Elementary in the city of Uvalde, 80 miles west of San Antonio. Law enforcement got into a shootout with a suspect near the school, but the suspect, who also is now dead, gained access to campus despite it being locked down. Voters in Georgia, Alabama, and Arkansas are casting ballots in primary elections with governor races in all three. Texas will see several runoffs, including the Attorney General facing the nephew of former President George W. Bush. There's also a special election in Minnesota to fill the seat of a late congressman. Both parties will choose their nominee to replace him. Getting grain out of Ukraine was the topic of conversation today between U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his Ukrainian counterpart. The State Department made the announcement but did not elaborate. Wall Street closed mostly down today. The S&P closed down 0.3%, while the Nasdaq closed down 2 1/3%. The Dow closed up only 0.1%. This news is sponsored by Root Insurance. Hey, Colorado, they're Root, and they're saving good drivers money on car insurance without the mascots. Get the app today, Root, for good drivers. Disclaimers may apply. See root.com for details. Wake up with George Brockler weekday mornings from 6 until 10 on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of 2022 Western Conservative Summit.
An accident on southbound Broadway at Bayard. It was blocking traffic, slowing traffic back to Ellsworth. So avoid the area if you can. Also an accident at Park Avenue West and Wewata. And in Aurora, an accident eastbound Mississippi on the ramp to southbound 225. I'm Chris McLaughlin.
This report is sponsored by Whole Foods Market.
Mostly cloudy skies, temperatures only getting into the 50s this afternoon with rain showers around, a couple of isolated thunderstorms as well. They'll linger towards evening. Then lows tonight will be cool, middle to upper 30. It'll be sunny and a lot warmer Wednesday. High 65 to 70. Sunny, even warmer, near 80 on Thursday, well into the 80s Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option, pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. I'm meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
You don't get to be the league's all-time leading rusher without feeling some pain.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith knows joint pain, and he also knows the old treatments aren't the only treatments. Today, there's a natural alternative to drugs and surgery. It's biologic therapies from QC Kinetics.
I'm talking regenerative solutions that encourage your body to heal and repair itself.
Do you have pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, lower back? Want to get your life back? The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics can help.
Call to learn more about this exciting natural way to deal with chronic joint pain.
Don't put it off. Call QC Kinetics. Restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime and lasting results.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986. 303-900-8986.
Hi, I'm Gabe Walker from Alpine Planning Group. Wealth accumulation is never simple, but it's the distribution phase where we believe clients absolutely need a partner to navigate market cycles, assist with changes, and ensure retirement portfolios will last. At Alpine Planning Group, we specialize in wealth management. We're local or personal, and we customize every plan. If you'd like to meet or learn more, give us a call at 303-843-0918. Have a plan, have a partner, call Alpine Planning Group today.
Millions of people use Zoom Phone, the innovative and feature-rich cloud phone system for businesses of any size. Zoom Phone is simple to use, whether you're on a mobile device, desktop, laptop, or desk phone. And because every call is important to your business, Zoom Phone was built with reliability in mind, using geographic redundancy to keep your communications online. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Visit zoom.com/phone system. Zoom, how the world connects.
It's easy and profitable to be kind to others when you enter the Kindness Challenge. Each day for 30 days, we'll post a new act of kindness that you can do for others. On June 1st, you could win $5,000, and a deserving organization will also receive $5,000 in your name. You can make a difference in others' lives when you enter the Kindness Challenge.
The Kindness Challenge is brought to you in part by Littleton Jewelry, your home for custom jewelry, diamonds, and repairs.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Bad day, and we can't even imagine, well, most of us, what it must be like. The nation's latest mass shooting at an elementary school, the victims, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders, 14 dead, 14 students dead, 1 teacher dead. The murderer, 18 years old, dead. We'll have more throughout. Much more, but we're running out of time this hour. Artist joins us from Aurora. We got about 2 minutes, so go ahead, friend.
Okay. Well, first of all, I hope they find something on the web that will let them know if this guy wanted to be famous. He is. And schools need to have either metal detectors in their doors or locks or
what if they
police,
did?
something.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. What if they did? If we heard that they were, you know what I mean? It's just artists, and I respect you. And when you call, it's like, look, I don't know. We will never be able to stop this type of thing. But I'm with you. As you know, what's our most important asset? We say it's our kids. Arm every teacher. Arm every teacher. Give them the training that they need. And if they don't want to be armed, then they don't work at that school, so to speak.
Well, and then there were those 4 kids that tried to invade a home at 4 a.m. or 3 kids, whatever it was. And the homeowner shot them because they shot at the house at 4 a.m.
Yep.
And the parents of the one are now irate that he had the nerve to shoot their son.
Right.
It's like, how did he get the gun? They're like 15 and 16-year-olds or something.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So let me ask you this. The question of this hour, and it'll continue, is are you desensitized by stuff like this now, today?
As a former nurse of children, no, I'm not.
You know, that's good to hear. I'm actually glad. I'll give you the last word. Go ahead.
Well, it breaks my heart. We've pulled God out of the schools and let killers in.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, friend. We will take a break here at the top of the hour, more of Tom's news. And, again, if you're just joining us, I don't want to ever, ever, ever be a tune out for you. I feel like I am absolutely failing at my job if I give any of you a reason to go click. Now, of course, life being the way it is and talk radio being the way it is and things I may like to talk about, you really don't like to hear. Well, that's, that happens. But I'll tell you what, you tell me. How you want the rest of the show program? Do you want to talk about the Avs? Russell Wilson's big house. The Broncos may go to the playoffs for the first time in a while. How about Fat Tay, Colorado's biggest racist? He's in the news today. Planned a lot about him just to show you the ridiculousness of yet another crybaby Tay moment on social media. Comrade in Aurora, city council member, still there in France. He zoomed in last night to the council meeting. What a guy. As I did say in a moment of levity one time this hour, boy, that time change must have been a bitch, Marcano. We're back. You tell me, you desensitized? You want to talk about something else? Your call.
George Brockler from The George Show on 710 KNUS. Tomorrow, Christy Burton Brown, Priscilla Ron from the state GOP talking local politics, but we'll talk national politics with you. 9 huge primary races to analyze. Georgia, Texas, Alabama, and Arkansas. You, me, the phone, tomorrow, 710 KNUS.
George Brockler, tomorrow morning from 6 to 10 on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Hi, it's Kathy from Cabinetry by Kales. Just like a lot of kitchens need a new look, our front desk needs a new face to help us greet showroom guests. Work with our designers and operations so we can keep doing what we love, which is renovating the heart of the home with expert design and planning.
This is Art, and I want to share what one of our clients told us. His wife has wanted a kitchen remodel for years. He sheepishly admitted that they had put it off for many reasons, including not finding the trusted partner to bring into their home, tear it apart, and put it back together in the dream vision his wife had wanted. We were able to put their anxieties at ease, walk through all their design options with our multitude of cabinet, countertop, and kitchen hardware options. Our plan was a huge hit, and now we are getting ready to do the work. It's been such a joy for them to finally get this renovation going.
Visit the Cabinetry by Kales showroom in Parker or start by visiting their gallery online at cabinetryByKales.com. That's cabinetryByKales.com. Personalized, functional, beautiful. Cabinetry by Kales.
If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, you're paying too much for your wireless service. Because Pure Talk gives you the exact same 5G coverage as one of those big carriers on the exact same network, but saves the average family over $800 a year. And Pure Talk doesn't lock you into an overpriced unlimited data contract. Why pay for data you don't need? Instead, get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. And switching is so easy. You can keep your phone and keep your number, or get huge discounts on the latest iPhones and Androids. So what are you waiting for? Start saving today. Go to puretalk.com, type in your address to find the coverage at your home, then enter promo code HALF-OFF, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. That's puretalk.com, promo code HALF-OFF. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless.
Perfect air with a personal touch. Only Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc. can give you authentic Lennox quality and service. They're the people you know and trust right here in our community. And for a limited time, they're offering up to $1,000 in rebates or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Lennox system for as little as $132 a month. To get quality Lennox equipment with trusted service provided by Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc., call 303-777-1234 today or visit them online at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for detail.
KNUS Denver, a Salem Media Group station. News Talk 710, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. Get tickets online at 710knus.com.
An accident on southbound Broadway at Bayard. It was blocking traffic, slowing traffic back to Ellsworth. So avoid the area if you can. Also an accident at Park Avenue West and Wewata. And in Aurora, an accident eastbound Mississippi on the ramp to southbound 225. I'm Chris McLaughlin.
This report is sponsored by Whole Foods Market. At Whole Foods Market, get organic air-chilled boneless, skinless chicken breasts for $7.99 a pound through May 24th, plus an extra 10% off for Prime members while supplies last. Restrictions apply.
Denver's local talk leader. News Talk 710 KNUS. The news now.
It's 54 in Denver. The 710 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, 14 children and a teacher are dead after an 18-year-old gunman entered an elementary school of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. Uvalde is about an hour and a half west of San Antonio. The shooter is dead, being shot and killed by responding police officers. According to an FBI news report, Colorado has a disproportionate share of public shootings. Between 2000 and 2019, Colorado experienced 13 active shooting incidents, the country's 7th highest total. Not included in the FBI's definition are self-defense, gang or drug violence, or hostage situations. The New York subway shooting suspect accused of killing the Goldman Sachs employee is now in custody. The alleged assailant had at least 2 open criminal cases while he was out on the streets instead of being in jail. He also had a lengthy rap sheet. This news is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. If your summer plans include a new job, let Express Employment Professionals help. Visit ExpressPros.com for good local jobs in a variety of roles. Wall Street closed mostly lower after a sell-off in tech stocks. The Dow turned higher in late trading, but the Nasdaq fell more than 2% as recession fears rattled markets. Wake up with George Brockler, weekday mornings, 6 to 10 a.m. only on News Talk.
Scattered areas of rain showers and isolated thunderstorms will linger through late evening. Then skies will become partly cloudy. It's going to be another chilly night, middle to upper 30s. But we're going to be warmer, mostly sunny and dry Wednesday. Highs near 70. Not as cold, low to mid 40s Wednesday night. Then we're going to be near 80 and sunny Thursday, well into the 80s and sunny on Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty, now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. I'm meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
Portions of a longtime newsman with an opinion, a proud dad, an American, supporter of our veterans and active duty military. Common sense discussion begins now. This is the Steffan Tubbs Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
It should be a tragic day for all of us, yet again. If you are just clicking on, as Tom was just talking about, 14 children dead and 1 teacher dead at an elementary school in what I can only surmise to be fairly rural Texas. About 85 miles west of San Antonio. It is the worst mass shooting in Texas history. The victim said to be mostly second, third, and fourth graders. And as we begin our second hour together, I am as down and pissed as, well, the last one. And the question I think to ask yourself, if you stick with us, is, are you desensitized to this now? I think a lot of texts have come in and summarizing, I should say, can't even think straight. Summarizing most of these texts that have taken this angle is, it's one thing, I've got to be honest, people say these mass shootings, i.e. in Buffalo at the supermarket or King Supers in Boulder, when they're adults, it really is, to me, and I think to you as well. I don't know how many murderers are currently listening to the sound of my voice, or how many in a non-combative situation like war. I don't know how many people are listening right now that they've actually killed another human being. And either now they've served their time and they're out, or they got away with it. I don't think that population is very large. But you look at something like this, and it is are you desensitized to it? But I draw the line, like many of you, at children. I've seen some things on the internet that apparently, and you know how things are in these types of situations where one thing that is reported as fact, 5 minutes later, it's retracted. I don't want to be that guy. And I also don't want to be a hypocrite, but at the same time, I'll tell you what I just spent the last 5 minutes doing. And that was going through trying to get some more information. And many are reporting that this 18-year-old murderer, who also is dead, may have killed his grandmother. And there was a bolo, or be on the lookout for this guy's vehicle. Again, 18. I don't know how many kids you have, if any. I don't know how many kids you come in contact with. I don't know how many kids you have as far as grandchildren. But one of the things I see, this murderer is 18. My God, that is younger than my youngest. But there are reports out there, and I don't want to be the guy that comes in later and says, well, you know what, I told you at 4:07 Mountain Time. Yeah, that's not true. But a couple of the multiple reports from people in the area are saying and reporting on social media that there was a bolo out for this kid, young man, murderer, who flat out ruined the lives of a lot of freaking people today, in addition to those lives that he took. None of this is new ground for us, is it? Not even on this program. But the reports are that they were looking for this guy. Maybe there was a high-speed chase or a low-speed chase or a medium-speed chase. I don't care what speed he was going. And they stop him. And reports from the people there is that he ran across a street and into the elementary school. And that's all I'm going to say, because at this point, unless we hear it from the governor or the local police in Uvalde, Texas, it's speculation. But are you desensitized? You know, I remember, and I've shared this sadly because we've talked about so many school shootings since this program took air early February 2018. And I know I've touched on this multiple times because there have been multiple school shootings. If ever in this country I thought, you know what, now things will change, that was Sandy Hook. You know, there's a line, right? There's a line. We'll never go past that line again. We'll never even come close, because somehow, some way, maybe the good Lord above is going to work some miracles. Maybe there will be some common sense law or laws. But after Sandy Hook, and the fact that they continue, and the fact that they will continue until someone is reading my eulogy, and no offense, we're all heading there someday, your eulogy as well, mass shootings will continue in this country. I did say, and we'll get to phone calls, 303-696-1971, 303-696-1971, that it's just, as we always say, the countdown to the next one. But these people, the surviving moms and dads, the teachers, faculty, and staff that may have zero visible wounds, you tell me how many lives are ruined. And what will we do about it? The politicians, if they haven't already, will send out their thoughts and prayers. They will use the hashtag enough is enough. They will use, in this case, the hashtag Uvalde Strong. As media members, we will commemorate 1 week. We will commemorate a month. We will commemorate next year, May 24th, 2023. We'll do a story and mention, but see, by then it'll be in our rearview mirror. Those lives will still be ruined. Families will still be destroyed, no matter how much mental health they get, or outside support, or pallets of water, or hashtags, enough is enough. You see, by the time we focus on May 24th, 2023, the 1-year anniversary where 14 kids, and let's hope to God that were injured, do not succumb to their injuries. By the time we take a look out 1 year, how many more mass shootings? Will this one pale in comparison to the next one? So what do we do on this program? This obviously is not in Colorado. This obviously, sadly, I've texted 3 different people in the last 90 minutes that I know personally that live here within the greater Denver Indicay area, and they're absolutely rocked to their core because their lives were shattered at various times over the last couple of decades because of school shootings. And what do they say? They're right back in it. Right back in it. So while I want to really rip into Fat Tay today, and the Colorado's biggest racist stories continue, this one because some kid may have said F off to Colorado's biggest racist during a recent high school graduation just this past Sunday. See, I want to get into that, but it doesn't feel right. I don't want any more upbeat music. I'm not trying to depress you. There will be no rim shots or drum rolls. For many of you that hate the sound effects that go along with this program, you'll be happy. Maybe this is one day you'll stick with us till 7. But I am, just as a concerned American, so sick and tired of this, and it will not stop. And we can talk about the avalanche. We can talk about Fat Tay. I can tell you about Marcano calling this program now via a tweet earlier today. Hate radio. But it just doesn't feel right. But sadly, in a calendar year, I bet you we have, would you say, at minimum, one show like this, if not 2 or 3 or 5. So you can help. You help program the radio station until 7 o'clock tonight. You want to talk about Russell Wilson's big purchase of that home? Is that what you want to talk about? Would that make you happier as a listener? Or do we live, for those of you that are part of the radio club, whether you like it or not, do we live in reality where this kind of stuff, these tragedies, must be discussed? And before we open up the phone lines, I just want to say one more time, in case you are just joining us in the 4 o'clock hour, and thank you. 2 quick things. Number 1, please be smarter than your neighbor and pump your brakes when it comes to, well, if they'd only had an armed teacher, please don't insult yourself. You weren't there. You do not know if one teacher was armed or was not. That may come out in the coming minutes, hours, or what have you. But just to issue a blanket statement, whether you've muttered it to yourself, you will call me and tell me, or you will text it in, you were not there. So don't act like you're on your high horse. And see, I'm telling you again, teachers need to be armed. You have no idea right now if 7 teachers were armed to the gills. You see, I live in common sense land. And while I feel like, you know what, maybe this is it. Let's have every single teacher. You want to be a teacher? You must be able to kill someone. How's that? How crazy is that? That's crazy talk, radio talk. We've got to do something, right? Metal detectors, arming teachers. I'm all for it. It may or may not have a difference. You see, if someone wants to go and shoot up a place, they will. And they can. And it will continue. 303-696-1971. Tim in Westminster joins us. Brother man, good afternoon to you.
Baby boy, you know what? I am so saddened today. Please don't talk about your obituary because folks are threatening to kill you. Come on, knock it off. It'll break my heart.
that is true. And boy, do I ever listen, from what you had texted me yesterday. Ain't that the truth? And we'll keep that between you and me. But
absolutely,
yeah, one day after a death threat, you have this type of thing. Look, you know how greatly I respect your opinion. Talk to me.
Yes, sir. Today, when I heard about this, my son was still in school on his way. I heard sirens, and now I'm freaking out. He's on his way. I go pick him up from, a little bit elementary school. Someone's supposed to be safe. But Casper said, Denver and Decay is coming to a town near you. We had a stabbing here a couple of weeks ago. Doesn't happen around here in Louisville, but it did. Now, when it comes to school shootings, now, you know, I do not believe there's a solution. However, there are answers. Early 70s, when I'm in elementary and middle school, and like 70, 71, we had cops in every school. We didn't have CROs or all that nonsense. We had cops. And their sole job was to protect the students and the teachers. That was their job. Not to interact with students and arrest the students, to protect them from outsiders. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of school shootings that we just don't know about. Let me tell you, it's more common than we really think in this country. In Chicago, there are school shootings, but they're on the outside because they're not getting in. You're not going to get inside the school with the gun. That's not going to happen. Yep. Furthermore, the teachers are armed. The lunch ladies are armed. The custodians are armed. Even though it's illegal, they are armed. So they'll wait, and they're not going to get in the building, so they'll wait till the students out, then they'll shoot their enemies and things of that nature. Many people are so desensitized to this situation, we don't even think about it anymore. 14 kids were killed. My son has 2 days left, and I've always been worried about him going to school. How do you prevent it? Just like Israel. You don't get on the plane. Terrorists are not getting on the plane. Do not let them in. Cops in every school, not school resource officers, no, cops. And they were protected. One way in, emergency ways out. But you do not get into the school and walk alone. You just can't do that. Now, what do we do about it? The masters at Augusta has more security than our schools. Our teachers are raising the next leaders of our society. And how do we treat them? Little security. No one becomes anyone, president, senator, without going to a teacher first.
Yep.
And we marginalize their safety. Now, we have enough evidence and enough data that this is a problem. It's a big problem. What do we do? Now, those taxes that you give us on plastic bags and paper bags, marijuana, give me some cops in the school. No one gets in with the gun.
And you know
now,
what I feel?
Outside,
I'm sorry. I just, I find this ironic that you have a tragedy like this. Again, friends, if you were just by chance tuning in, maybe you're just off the golf course, what have you, you weren't on your cell phone. School shooting, I guess it was maybe right before noon, Denver time. The death toll right now, 14 students said to be second, third, and fourth graders. The murderer dead, said to be an 18-year-old local young man. One teacher killed as well, and many more injured. And look, at the end of the day, you and I both know that it'll just be a matter of time before we talk about the next. But I find it ironic that this horrible tragedy happens. You call the program. Tay Anderson is in the news. Let's not lose sight of the fact that he is so proud, just focusing on him as an individual with his position. This guy is now the vice president of the Board of Education and DPS. Whether
you mean the pedophile? Okay, go ahead.
Well, that's your word. But look,
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? That you have someone like that, whether I like it or not, anybody else, Mr. or Mrs. Listener out there, the fact is a guy like that is in the number 2 post in the state's largest school district and the Board of Education. I bring this up, Tim, because it's individuals like him. Remember, within the last 18 months, get rid of all school resource officers. You are scared. You're scaring. You're targeting the minorities. They're scared to go to school because they think the whitey officer is going to arrest them just because they look at them wrong. When we have that kind of basic, you can't even have someone in a position of quote unquote, I don't want to say Fat Tay has power, but let's face it, within the school district.
He has power.
Yes, exactly. So my point is this, and then I'll give it back to you. You've got individuals like that. How do you justify removing school resource officers, which I understand to be, and I could be wrong, but in Denver public schools, they were not some level above, say, a janitor. And no offense to janitors, you're important, but these were officers within the Denver Police Department. Some of them may have been off duty. That's their side gig, whatever. But until we have people that will realize you have got to have schools of all places, they've got to be the safest places in the country. And
In
until
the
you
country.
until you get a Tay Anderson type out of there that's saying that that the school resource officers are intimidating those of color, we're going nowhere, brother.
Put it this way. I agree with him. Get rid of school resource officers. I want cops. I want trained technicians. I want cops to know, to understand when there's a threat and be there. Not one that handles 5, 6 schools. 1 or 2
Agree.
cops to every school.
Yep.
Every school. You know what?
But that would cost so much. I'm being facetious. This is a country, the United States Senate just last week passed a $40 billion aid package for Ukraine. We can do this. I'll give you the final word. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. We can do this. Not only that, just remember, Augusta has more security. The high-rise, exclusive buildings downtown have more security than our schools.
Yep.
How can anyone get into any school in this country and shoot up people? I just don't understand that. It doesn't make sense. And the reason why it doesn't make sense, because there's no reason for it. That solution or that problem can be mitigated if we actually just do it. And it's not that complicated, brother.
Amen. I love you. See you.
Take care, my friend.
You too. 303-696-1971. Let's get to Mick in Littleton. Mick, thank you for the call and good afternoon to you.
Well, I'm not going to say good afternoon, Steffan.
I hear you. It's not.
I'm not desensitized to what's going on. And the view that I see, I'm going to describe to you how I see this, is this all this the solution to this is within the political divide. We have one political party that says, don't harden our schools, don't turn the words they use is prisons, don't turn our schools into a fortress. Our schools have to be a safe, comfortable place. And then you have another side that wants to harden our schools. Well, unfortunately, at this point, I think the solution falls right now into hardening these schools. Because, there's a lot of people in this world, and you have a lot of good people, but you have a small percentage that are just downright crazy people. And if they know they're going to go out, they want to make the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And from the start of Columbine, just like
I kind of knew that was going to happen.
Began
Mick, we're taking a big hit. I'm sorry on your phone. So I'm going to have to say thank you. I apologize. It's probably on our end, but I got your point, and I know your fellow listeners did as well. It is time. How much longer? How many more school shootings will happen before we realize, sorry, little Johnny and Janie, again, in that bucolic little mid-American town, nobody locks their doors at night. It can happen there too. And little Johnny and Janie are going to simply have to realize, yeah, mommy and daddy, we even had to have your little brother or sister go through a metal detector when they were just in a stroller before we went to take that flight to see grandma. It's just going to have to be that way. And then please know that while as a very proud parent of now one college student, the other wrapped up, I don't want our schools to be quote unquote prison-like, but you know what? I'd rather have my kid come home at night. What should we talk about? So far, great calls. Jim in Wheat Ridge, I will ask you to be patient. You'll be first up on the other side. The fact is, even making a school a fortress, metal detectors, arm every damn person from the lunch lady to the custodian to the principal to every single teacher, man, woman. You're never going to be able to prevent this. But what if you could maybe thwart just one? And using this Texas case as an example today, 14 kids who will never come home. Maybe just one being prevented. But you just watch how this plays out. The president right now is on Air Force One coming back from a worthless trip to Japan. You watch what happens in the next 24 hours. Before we go on the air tomorrow at 3:03 Mountain Time, you watch the messaging from the White House. Jill's thoughts and prayers, my thoughts and prayer, all of the same complete and utter bullshit will happen. 303-696-1971. Happy show, sad show, frustrating show, anger-filled show. We could not do any show or program without our sponsors. In this case, like our friends Joyce and Brent Tolliver, the mom and son powerhouse team. They own and operate this Colorado small business. You may have heard of it. It's called Roll 'Em Out Shelves. Simple storage, clean quality construction, practical home upgrade for you. It's Roll 'Em Out Shelves. They've been around for nearly 2 decades, making people like me happy. And even like my mom, she loves the Roll Out Shelves. I had my kitchen done the first week of this year, and I absolutely love it. You can streamline your space. You don't have to bend over, twist and turn, and pots and pans fall out. With roll-out shelves, they're smooth, accessible, and consider them a mini home upgrade. They're made right here in Colorado. You're supporting Colorado small business, made of sturdy Baltic birch, and they're guaranteed for life. They can install them in your kitchen like me, or in, say, your pantry, bathroom, laundry room, basement, any room with cabinet space. Get on their schedule for a free in-home estimate. You'll be so glad you did. Trust me, maximize your space. Don't wait. Call today for your free estimate. My friends at Roll 'Em Out Shelves, 303-475-9601 or rollemoutshelves.com. That's rollemoutshelves.com, and tell them Steffan sent you.
An accident on southbound Broadway at Bayard. It was blocking traffic, slowing traffic back to Ellsworth. So avoid the area if you can. Also an accident at Park Avenue West and Wewata. And in Aurora, an accident eastbound Mississippi on the ramp to southbound 225. I'm Chris McLaughlin.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Suffering from junk sleep? Mattress Firm can help. Get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $500 off during the best Memorial Day sale ever.
Charlie Kirk warns of history repeating itself.
It is the mark of a falling empire when a couple things happen. Questioning fundamental truths, borders start to mean nothing, your currency destabilizes, and you start worrying about far-off distant lands and the well-being of your own citizens. Why? Because they actually don't have a lot of respect for their citizens. Because in Washington, D.C., the most important thing is Ukraine. Guess what? It's not the most important thing in our country. It isn't.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 10 on News Talk 710 KNUS.
So many people here are getting real lasting joint pain relief from QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
The work that QC Kinetics did paid off exponentially.
It brought me back to an effective age of almost in my 20s and 30s.
QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologics from your own body, precision treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue in your aching joints with no meds, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain.
It is a all-natural therapy. You're using you to fix you.
I got my life back. I got my smile back. And best of all, I got my laugh back.
Don't live with that pain anymore. And don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Learn more about regenerative options from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986. 303-900-8986.
As prices continue to rise, don't turn to your credit cards to pay for everything. Hi, Steffan Tubbs for Town Group Mortgage. You know, paying off your debt now is really more important than ever. If you're a homeowner and you need cash, call my friends at the Town Group. If you're a business owner with large write-offs or self-employed, no W-2s, give Melissa at the Town Group just 5 minutes to hear your story. They specialize in jumbo loans for the self-employed for your current, next, or forever home. Now, the silver lining is with skyrocketing home values, you can now maybe unlock equity that you hadn't had before. It's perfect for, say, doing summer projects or maybe taking a vacation. Don't let inflation and credit card debt eat away at your lifestyle. If other lenders have said no, give Melissa, again, just a few minutes. If you've got the equity, she can likely get you into a loan. Call them today before you get priced out of the market. 833-MY-JUMBO. That's 833-MY-JUMBO or online, towngroupmortgage.com.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing way up on that ladder? You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, I'm trying to unclog these gutters.
That's smart. I had water damage from my gutters last year. It cost me $10,000.
Wait, $10,000?
Yeah, and from over here, it looks like water's been pouring over your clogged gutters, and it's probably doing real damage to your foundation. You need to do what I did. Get off the ladder and call Leaf Filter.
Yeah, but I need to get these gutters flowing now.
That's why you need to call Leaf Filter. They'll clean and realign your gutters and install their exclusive micro mesh screen system so nothing gets in your gutters except water.
So Leaf Filter protects my house from damage and means no more gutter cleaning for me?
Bingo! Plus, Leaf Filter has an industry-leading lifetime warranty, so your gutters are covered for life.
Thanks, Frank. I'm calling Leaf Filter today.
Don't go another day with your home unprotected. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com right now for an extra 15% savings. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com. That's 1-844-300-LEAF.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Of Juan Marcano, councilman, city of Aurora, who literally had the audacity to be on his little junket. He's still in France. I don't know. Maybe he flew back today. You see, I wanted to talk about that. He called us hate radio. It's like eye roll, please. Can't you? And people of your ilk call this show anything different than that. Aren't you more creative? The idiot that runs the Aurora Sentinel. Is it a newspaper? Is it a blog? Is it a website? I don't know. I've never read it. He called as sticking up for Juan Marcano and No Show Murillo. You know, Marcano's travel partner to France. Picked up by the taxpayer. It's a good gig if you can get it. The Aurora Sentinel called Mayor Mike Kaufman today, who had the audacity yesterday to actually criticize the Aurora Sentinel editor, among other things, called Kaufman Mayor Karen. You see, I wanted to talk about all that kind of stuff. Or, well, the former campaign manager of Hillary Clinton kind of spilling the beans. Whoa, Hillary, my God, we may be deplorable, but you really, really are a POS. See, I want to talk about that. Gas prices are still high. Today I saw the highest per gallon. Granted, it was diesel. Does it really matter? I'm glad I don't drive a diesel. But in 4 decades of living in Colorado, never have I seen a price per gallon of gas as high today. I saw $5.39. That eclipses the $5.35 I saw just last week. I want to talk about that. Can anybody tell me why the president needed to go to South Korea and Japan? Then when he's over on his little overseas trip, says and shocks the world that we would defend Taiwan militarily. Well, wow. I wanted to talk about that as well. But no, right before the show, the death toll that had been 2, a student and a teacher. Sadly, more information came out of Uvalde, Texas, and an elementary school there that, no, not 2 people dead, but 15 dead, including 14 kids who were less than 48 hours away from heading into their summer. School in that district, their last day after tomorrow. So the thoughts and prayers continue on social media, I'm sure, as we speak, from politicians. Enough is enough. In this case, Uvalde Strong, I'm sure, is trending. It won't stop. We are now on a countdown to the nation's next mass school shooting, as you know. But are you desensitized? Would you rather talk about the Avalanche, the hockey team, since we're not a sports show? Would you rather talk about Davos and how the banjo-playing senator, you have no clue, even our friends on the left have no clue what he does in the United States Senate? He, remember, said on the campaign trail he wouldn't make a good senator. We could talk about Davos and all the billionaires that are there. But see, it just comes back to and round in my mind. It's spinning around. What do we do? What do we talk about? But see, at the end of the day, are we doing the issue any justice if we just don't talk about it and talk about the Avalanche quest for the Stanley Cup? 303-696-1971. Jim, thank you for your patience. Welcome. Jim joins us from Wheat Ridge. Good afternoon.
Hey, another terrible afternoon talking about these children who were shredded by a weapon in their school. We don't take school security seriously. We as a nation have a murder problem by gun in our schools, and no one's really taking it seriously. I think we should probably have a real security apparatus that is paid for by tax dollars. I know we all deserve tax cuts every decade, like the baby boomers had over their entire working life, okay? But we should have the police enforce monitoring the situation during school hours if we value our young people whatsoever. I am completely against arming teachers, even if a percentage of them are qualified and capable and could withstand the court grilling that would go along with defending.
Well, we'll expand on that. Why?
The security.
Why against arming teachers?
Oh, heck. Well, I don't think we should arm people.
So you're anti-gun?
No, not at all. not at all.
Okay, well, you're giving me mixed messages. I just want to make sure that I'm following you.
Let me clear it up for you.
Yeah.
I don't think we should arm teachers out of one side of our mouth and then spend the next 3 weeks persecuting teachers and they're wanting increased pay and benefits.
That's such a slippery slope, though, brother. And I love your call, but that's come on. You can't throw in there. So many people hate the teachers' unions. What with the mess we saw in Douglas County, for example, you can't clump that in, at least in my opinion, with arming teachers. That is totally separate from anyway.
How is it separate? Giving a person that is dissatisfied with their stature in the school district a gun to defend our kids. How is that exactly separate? I know it's emotional for you, but tell me how that is
first of all, we keep it civil.
Day.
You do look, it's as terrible a day. I'm right there with you. I got a lot in common with you there. My point is, I don't know how you just said the whole thing about out of two sides of your mouth. We as a society, or me as a talk show host, doesn't matter. You can use me as the punching bag.
I didn't say you.
No, well, whatever.
We.
Okay, we say that we are against the teachers bitching about, they don't get paid enough, and then at the same time we want them to be armed. Look, do I think that for the most part most teachers do not make what they should? Absolutely. And that might freak out some of, my friends on the right. At the same time, I also know that while difficult, there are some really good benefits from being a teacher. I feel like, though, with you, Jim, I'm going off into the weeds. I think that we're doing a disservice.
No. It's a terrible, somber day for these people.
That's
and their
what
families.
I was about to say. I'm saying that I don't think today's discussion is, I don't know. I just think it's better maybe for tomorrow.
Real professionals that know how to handle weapons and defense in there to defend our best commodity.
That I could not agree with you more. That is a great way to end it. Thank you, Jim. And here's a question, and whether or not it's political or not, I sure think it's political. For example, the big story, I don't watch local news, but I read a lot. The big story is what? Out of the governor's office. You are getting $500 back. How many of you right now, don't raise your hand, especially if you're driving, but how many of you would say, I don't care about the $500? Yes, I care about $5.39 a gallon diesel. No, I don't like the economy. And yeah, times are financially tight. But I'll tell you what, let's take that money that's going to every taxpayer in Colorado, the $500. How about this? Governor, keep your damn check. Tabor, thank you. But this one, we're going to sit out. Take that money and arm people at schools, whether that is a program to arm teachers, or if that is not your thing, which I understand for some of you, it's not your thing. Wasn't Jim's thing, but I respected the call. Let's hire some people. Are we at a point in our society where we need, like TSA, work with me here, after 9/11, let's all go back, what it was like traveling in an airport on September 10th, 2001. Then 9/11 happens. Then we have this incredible amount of extra security. Maybe, and I'm not big, and this is just for talk radio purposes. I haven't thought about this. It's in my head and it's out my mouth. We come up with a brand new agency, and I'm anti-government, by the way, getting in your face and creating more agencies. We now have a staff of thousands, and we'll find the money. Don't worry. They found $40 billion for Ukraine. They can find the money. If we go into more debt, we go into more debt. We now have a nationalized, run by the states, but you just like TSA, armed and trained strictly security at schools. You don't have to bug your sheriff. You don't have to bug the police chief. You don't have to go off, hey, Fred, I know that you just worked a 40. Oh, sorry, it was a 60-hour week. Would you like to pick up an extra shift at, Smith Elementary? No, now we put in place every state. You must have at every school, at minimum 2, so maybe 2 armed people. That's all they do. They could be, and hopefully they would be the most bored employees ever, but they would be ready. What do we have to do? High schools have 5. It's not the money. It's not the money, friends, and you know this. It's not the money. It's the fact that the gun issue in this country divides this issue as much as abortion. I apologize. If you're on hold, please be patient. We'll talk about this until 7 o'clock tonight. We've got to take a break. This is 710 KNUS.
News Talk 710. Update.
It's 53 in Denver after a high of 54 so far today. The 710 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, if you're just getting out of work, 14 children and a teacher are dead after an 18-year-old gunman entered an elementary school of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. Uvalde is about an hour and a half west of San Antonio. The shooter is dead, being shot and killed by responding police officers. President Biden has ordered flags to be lowered to half staff. He will address the nation at 6:15 tonight. Lawmakers in Indiana are banning transgender girls from playing school sports. The state's Republican governor vetoed a bill on March, but House Republicans voted to override the governor, and senators did so as well. More than a dozen states now have similar laws in place. Bank of America's CEO Brian Moynihan says American consumers are in good shape, his words, and nothing will slow down the everyday U.S. consumer from spending money. This comes as the Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates to combat rising inflation across the U.S. Meanwhile, Wall Street closed mostly down today. The S&P closed down 0.3%, while the Nasdaq closed down 2 1/3%. The Dow closed up only 0.1%. This news is sponsored by Lowe's. Right now at Lowe's, get their premium color mulch at their new low price of $2.98, valid $5.19 to $5.25. While supplies last, selection varies by location, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Wake Up with George Brockler, weekday mornings from 6 to 10 only on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit.
Heavy traffic in the downtown drive. There's been problems on northbound 25 up near 20th Street and 48th Avenue. Those wrecks finally out cleared up. Northbound I-25, you're running heavy from Downing up to I-70. That drive's going to take you over 30 minutes. There's a crash causing a backup eastbound 70 at Holly Monaco. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Denver 7 News at 6 p.m. Expect more from your local news.
Denver 7 News at 6, it's local news done differently. Denver 7 360 reporting goes in depth on the issues that matter to you. Weeknights at 6, watch Denver 7 News.
Scattered areas of rain showers and isolated thunderstorms will linger through late evening. Then skies will become partly cloudy. It's going to be another chilly night, middle to upper 30s. But we're going to be warmer, mostly sunny and dry Wednesday. Highs near 70. Not as cold, low to mid 40s Wednesday night. Then we're going to be near 80 and sunny Thursday, well into the 80s and sunny on Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty, now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. I'm meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty.
In today's active real estate market, don't pay too much to sell your house. Colorado Flat Fee Realty is now offering a 2% option. If you were selling a $500,000 house, the agent typically charges you 6%. That's $30,000 for just a few days of work. Colorado Flat Fee Realty has a much better way. On that same $500,000 sale, you would save thousands with Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Why would you list your house with anyone else? Pay less, keep more. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Call 303-300-9660 to find out more. 303-300-9660 or visit ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, save thousands.
This is the Cenegenics Health Minute with my good friend, Dr. Tim Watt.
Hi, I'm Dr. Watt from Cenegenics, and I hate cheat day. One of the worst things about many diets is the so-called cheat day. You eat a certain way for 6 days, and on day 7, you go off the rails and basically binge on all of the garbage you were eating before you started the diet. Not only does this tend to undo all of the work you just put in on things like your blood sugar levels, it reinforces your desire to eat junk. Instead of learning to think donuts are not something I would do to myself, you learn that if you're just good for a while, you can get all the donuts you want. Making unhealthy food a reward is a recipe for failure. If you cared about your marriage, would you come home and tell your spouse you just had a fling with someone at the office? But hey, it's cheat day. Good luck with that. When you cheat on your diet, you aren't cheating on a salad, you're cheating on yourself. Why would you do that?
Call Cenegenics today at 720-387-3681 or visit denver.cenegenics.com.
This is Dan Kaplis. Ben Franklin said that well done is better than well said. That applies directly to personal injury law. Actions speak louder than words. Talk is cheap. Results matter. At our firm, we've achieved truly historic results, which we'd be proud to share with you. We're a serious firm for serious cases. We take righteous cases on a percentage fee basis. If you need our help with a serious injury or, God forbid, wrongful death case, please give me a call, 303-770-5551, or hit dankaplislaw.com. That's dankaplislaw.com.
News Talk. Now, back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710, KNUS.
Shooting. 14 little kids dead about 48 hours before they were going to be done with school for the summer. One teacher killed as well, many others injured in Uvalde, Texas. Charles in Lakewood joins us. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Hello, Steffan.
Hello.
Steffan, I had the fortune of meeting you at Cooper's Troopers several years
Well,
back.
bless you, brother, and thank you.
Yes. Yeah, and I think you're incredibly right about TSA in schools. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if we'll just think back a ways, we will remember one American that I think had the proper solution to school shootings. And he's not talked about much anymore.
Who's that?
And if you remember, if you just think a little bit, you can remember his name. He was a hero in this area for 2 or 3 years because of his action at.
Are you talking about Kendrick?
Yes, Kendrick
Castillo.
Yeah, that to me is a solution for these shootings. As we say in the Marine Corps, run to the sound of the guns. And whether you're armed or not, you can do what is possible to stop.
Charles, you know, I respect your and semper fi to you, my man, but I'm sorry if when push comes to shove, I want my kid to get the hell out of there. I don't want, that's what makes Kendrick Castillo so incredibly heroic and special and one in a million.
But he stopped people from dying.
He did. And he also paid with his life. And I can guarantee you this. I know that the Castillos, trust me, Charles, I'm not trying to argue with you, but I know the Castillos would give anything if their son were here with them today.
That's true. I have a son that was killed by a drunk driver.
I'm sorry.
And I feel the same way. But in this respect, what he did what we were taught in the Marine Corps is solve a problem. And that's what he did with his friends.
Yeah.
If everybody focus, teachers don't need guns. They need to stop the shooter. That's prime directive. Stop the shooter.
And sometimes, listen, as a Marine, you know, it's a hell of a lot easier to stop a shooter when you have a weapon than when you don't.
No, not necessarily.
Well, for most.
And now, if you study movies and things, you can do a lot, even though you got a couple of bullets in you. And if you can get the guy on the ground and lay on top of him, and your friends can take the guns away from him, you're going to stop other people from that. The quicker you get on that guy and stop him, the better off everyone's going to be. Then there are going to be parents out there that have their children. Look at, if somebody had done that in Uvalde, there may be 10 kids that were able to go home in the evening. If there had been one person in there that had Kendrick's, what's the word I want?
Heroism.
Heroism. His gift from God to run to the sound of the gun and stop the shooter. Even though I'm not armed, that's what I'm going to do. Stop the shooter.
Listen,
bless Kendrick's heart.
Bless him. Yeah.
He deserves the angel's wings as far as I'm concerned. And I think everyone, when a situation like this comes up, everyone should do the same thing. They should run to the sound of the gun and stop the shooter as quick as you can. Whether you got a gun, a baseball bat, a pointer, whatever you got, hit him with a book, get him on the ground, stop him. Stop the shooter as quick as you can.
Charles, I wish I had more time with you, my friend. You know I respect you. Semper Fi Marine, you old Marine. Thank you. I understand what Charles is saying. And I hope you don't think, I don't care. Honestly, I love you, but I don't care. I want my kid to come back to me, and I want to hug my kid after something like this, not be planning their funeral. And you simply cannot put this on the shoulders of kids. And I look, Charles is of a different generation, and I don't think he's blaming the children. I don't want to speak for him. But we cannot just have this be on our kids. We are here to protect our kids. And we fail almost every day.
The Western Conservative Summit is one of the largest annual gatherings of conservatives in the Western United States. I'm Jeff Hunt. Join us June 3rd and 4th at the Gaylord Rockies Resort in Denver, Colorado.
This year's summit features former Trump press secretaries Kayleigh McEnany, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, and just added Betsy DeVos, Matt Walsh, and Tulsi Gabbard. Get tickets today at 710knus.com.
We'll see you at the summit.
Listen now, and your bank account will thank you. Hi, George Brockler here. I'm blown away by the program my friend and realtor Gay Ribble, the Ribble Group, Keller Williams Realty DTC, has launched. Sell your home and pay zero commission. Yes, you can list your home with the Ribble Group, get full service, and the buyer will pay all of the commission. I've talked a lot about how Gay Ribble has the buyers. Well, now Gay has the buyers willing to pay all of the commission so you can net more money. You can sell your home now by matching your home to one of her buyers who will pay the commission for you. With interest rates on the rise, you're going to want to act quickly. The Ribble Group's zero commission program makes it easy, matching your home to one of their buyers who will pay all the commission. To learn more about the zero commission program, call the Ribble Group at 833-301-SOLD. That's 833-301-SOLD. Or visit Gay, spelled Gaye, hasthebuyers.com. That's gayhasthebuyers.com.
It's still the right time to get away to the Claremont Inn and Winery. Do you need a quiet getaway or something more adventurous for the weekend? Now is the perfect getaway time, and the Claremont Inn offers exactly what you need. Maybe a cooking class, a round of golf, or enjoy a murder mystery or an escape room challenge. Hands-on Saturday cooking classes are back, and a perfect way to spend an afternoon. And you have options. Claremont kitchen classes specialize in grilling, making Italian pastas and sauces, and even how to create the perfect dinner party. Whether you're a kitchen pro wanting to finesse your skills or the dinner reservation specialist, you'll learn some chef's tips and tricks and enjoy a delightful afternoon in the Claremont kitchen. Stop dreaming and start packing for your getaway to the Claremont Inn and Winery, Colorado's hidden treasure. Learn more about finding a getaway package that's perfect for you at ClaremontGetaways.com. That's ClaremontGetaways.com or call 888-291-8910. That's 888-291-8910.
Hear the latest reporting and analysis on the big stories of the day on the Daybreak Insider podcast. It's top-notch reporting from SRN News, along with the sharpest insight from Hugh Hewitt, Mike Gallagher, Dennis Prager, Sebastian Gorka, and the voices of townhall.com. The Daybreak Insider podcast. It's your first look at today's top stories. Available at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. KNUS Denver, a Salem Media Group station. News Talk 710, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. Get tickets online at 710knus.com.
Heavy traffic in the downtown area. Has been some problems northbound 25. The drive at about 40 minutes right now from University, getting up past Colfax. Still working a crash up near 48th Avenue. And a problem getting in the tech center, southbound 225 at DTC Tamarack. Crash in the left lane. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Whole Foods Market. At Whole Foods Market, get 16-ounce organic strawberries for $3.79 through May 24th, plus an extra 10% off for Prime members while supplies last. Promo varies by location. See app for details.
Denver's local talk leader. News Talk 710 KNUS. The news now.
It's 53 in Denver. The 710 5-day forecast is coming up. We're sorry to say our top story is 14 children and a teacher are dead after a gunman entered an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, an hour and a half west of San Antonio. The shooter is dead after he was gunned down by responding police officers. President Biden will speak at 6:15 Denver time after returning to the White House from an overseas trip. Over 200 decomposing bodies were found in an apartment building basement in Mariupol in Ukraine. Mayor advisor said that locals refused Russian demands to grab the bodies, with Russia's Ministry of Emergencies instead leaving them. Russia now has total control of the city after the last of the Ukrainian forces surrendered. Roughly 100,000 of the estimated 450,000 residents before the war remain in the city. This news is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Wall Street closed mostly lower. After a sell-off in tech stocks, the Dow turned higher in late trading, but the Nasdaq fell more than 2% as recession fears rattled markets. Much of the downturn was driven by a profit warning from Snap, which sent its shares plunging 40%. Wake up to George Brockler, weekday morning, 6 to 10, only on News Talk 7.
Scattered areas of rain showers and isolated thunderstorms will linger through late evening. Then skies will become partly cloudy. It's going to be another chilly night, middle to upper 30s. But we're going to be warmer, mostly sunny and dry Wednesday. Highs near 70. Not as cold, low to mid 40s Wednesday night. Then we're going to be near 80 and sunny Thursday, well into the 80s and sunny on Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty, now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. I'm meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
A longtime newsman with an opinion, a proud dad, an American, supporter of our veterans and active duty military. Common sense discussion begins now. This is the Steffan Tubbs Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
After what happened in Uvalde, Texas earlier today. If by chance you are just getting off work, you have not heard, Tom just mentioned it. 14 students and a teacher dead after an 18-year-old who is also dead opens fire at an elementary school. I am at a loss for words, yet I get paid to speak, so that's not a good thing. I am also, I'm kind of in a mood. I could probably, if I don't drink that much, so I'd probably just have a Diet Coke or a coffee, and I could probably talk about this with you until 3 a.m. It's that juxtaposition of shock and horror mixed with reality that this is just the norm in this country. We took a call at the final, minute or two in our 4 o'clock hour, and I never want to alienate you if you just click on in the 5 o'clock. But a gentleman who I was telling Matt off the air, there's a local group, and I haven't been in a long time. I'm not even sure if they still meet, but it's called Cooper's Troopers, made up of a bunch of old farts, guys that I could not have more respect for. 90% of them, at least when I went, members of the greatest generation, members of the generation that saved the world. But Charles' point that he tried to make last hour, and I wish we had more time with him, he said, we need more Kendrick Castillos out there. These kids were 48 hours from beginning their summer, but the difference between what happened in that classroom at STEM school in Highlands Ranch and what happened today, first and foremost, the ages of the students. Many of you know I could not love John and Maria Castillo, Kendrick's parents. I couldn't love them more. A relationship born out of tragedy for me. And they get to know me because of the tragedy of the loss of their son. But I think I can speak on behalf of John and Maria. I think I know John especially enough to say if they could change things with the snap of a finger, they would have Kendrick back in their arms right now. And to our greatest generation Marine Charles, I hope you know how much I respect men and women of your generation and how you did save the world, though 99.9999% of you say I was just doing my job, what I was told to do. But these kids were different. This was not a room full of high school students. That in the case of STEM had a hero that absolutely saved lives. We cannot put the burden on a second grader. What do we say? And again, I am not piling on to Charles at all. But what kind of society says, Johnny, we've got to have the talk. If somebody comes in your classroom and starts shooting, you need to throw your crayons at him. No. We need to fortify our schools any way we can. Do any of you on the left agree with me? Is it really a gun thing? Really? Because you see, I think a lot of people like me with common sense and feet on the ground, though we do not vote the way you do, we know this isn't going to stop. We know that this is just now, the countdown has begun to the next one. And people who in general feel like I do, directing this message to our friends on the left, do you really think if you tried to abolish the Second Amendment, get rid of guns, guns are bad, guns kill people, do you really think that you're going to stop mass shootings in this country? And before the argument is presented to either me or to you, friends, there's no way they know, because we have never as a country had anything but the Second Amendment. So they cannot tell you that shootings like this would simply stop. Now, could they? But this is more to me than just guns are bad. This is more than just the idiot politicians that I guarantee you by now have sent out their thoughts and prayers, tweets and Facebook messages. They're using enough is enough. They're using Uvalde Strong as a hashtag. We support you in the community. Here comes little old granny. She just went to Walmart and bought for the first responders at that active crime scene. She just brought them a case of water. That's so nice of you. But this will not stop. So we need to try to prevent in ways we can. And I, frankly, on a day where I am just deflated and defeated, they won again today. If you don't believe me, think about the parents, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles. 14 little kids gone. The murderer won today. And what are we going to do? Tweet about it? We need this to stop. Do we all agree on that? Well, you better get your together and come together. And even then, I don't think it stops. But I am telling you right now, the odds of something like this happening go down if teachers are armed. If there are dedicated, trained police, sheriffs, deputies, they are on campus always, not popping between schools, not picking up an extra shift. We, I think, need a new branch of government. And I cannot believe I'm uttering those words. We can find somehow, some way, nearly $40 billion to send to Ukraine. What kind of national school security force could we buy for $40 billion? Just like before 9/11, security was different. TSA is created. Homeland Security is created. We will not even come close to kidding ourselves that we're going to make a difference unless we take proactive measures. And of course, this is one guy's opinion on a 5,000 watt directional radio signal. But we need a national, federal, you can operate it from the states, every school in this country. Don't give it to me that it's about the money, because it's really never about the money. We just print more, go into more debt. Would you rather bitch and complain about the federal deficit, or would you rather cry at a funeral for your child or grandchild? We've got to take this from a federal look. The President of the United States, within the last 5 minutes, landed at Joint Base Andrews, back from his worthless trip from South Korea and Japan. I don't think this quite was Nixon going to China. And coming up in almost exactly 60 minutes, the president, and you will hear him live, whether you like it or not, you can tune out. I don't care. We will bring you the president and his comments on the latest nation school shooting. Unless we are willing to take it in the shorts on both sides, unless we are willing to create, in my estimation, what should be a federal school security force. We can recognize them at the next State of the Union. Start it now. You found $40 billion for Ukraine. Let's find $40 billion. And by the end of next month, the nation has absolute assurances that every single school in this country has people that will see a weapon, shoot, and then maybe ask questions later. John Castillo, my friend, is on hold. I want to get to one call before that because he's been waiting forever, and that would be Mark in Littleton. Mark, thank you, and good evening to you.
Hey, Steffan. You don't sound like you're short on words now. You just mentioned that you were short on words.
Well,
But
that's
one
because
thing
the dead air is not good on radio.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, one thing I was thinking about is after the Marjorie Stoneman shooting in Florida.
Yep.
And you and your producer Kurt joined the NRA live on the air. Remember that?
Okay, are you trying to school me or what? Because I'm not in the mood. What's your point? Yes, I remember.
I'm asking you. Do
yes,
you
of
remember
course,
that?
I remember.
Well,
Yes.
Well, where
What's
was
your
the
point?
outrage then?
What's your
Where
point?
was the outrage then?
Do you remember why we joined
you-
Do you remember why we joined
Yeah.
the NRA? Why?
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
To protect AR-15s. To protect the
Wrong.
public's right to own.
Wrong.
What do you mean?
Wrong.
Steffan, play the podcast, so I'm on the calls. That's exactly what you told me over the air.
You would be made a bigger fool than you are now if I played
Well,
the podcast.
I'm not a fool, Steffan. I'm not a fool. And,
Mark, you
just
waited a
you
long
doing that-
time for doing this. I joined the NRA. If you'd pot him down. I joined the NRA live on this very radio program, Mark, unless you're still talking and we potted you down, because of the companies around the country like Delta and United Airlines that stopped giving their discounts to members of the NRA in a knee-jerk reaction to Marjorie Stoneman's mass killing at a school there. That is why, because just like Senate Bill 217 in Colorado, that killing the discount, if you will, for NRA members did nothing but prove to me it's just a worthless knee-jerk reaction. Now, if you're a good boy, I'll put you back up. Do you remember any of that? Oh, you hung up. You hung up. Mark, I'm sorry you waited about 20 minutes, bro, to try to put me in a corner, and the only dummy is you. God. Great day to do that. Now, I suppose, according to, probably people like Mark, any of you that either don't condemn the NRA or any of you, certainly you deplorable Satan worshiping piece of absolute shit. If you're a member of the NRA, well, I guess would a guy like Mark say the blood's on our hands? Yeah, for those of you that may be new to the program, my old producer Kirk and I, whenever that was, the mass shooting in Florida many years ago, and I don't think it was the actual day of the shooting even. Might have been the next day. I don't know. Mark seems like he would remember. We joined out of protest of these companies that said, school shooting, mass dead, no more NRA discounts. That's why we did it. And he knows it. And if he doesn't, he's really stupid. On a day like today, I text now 3 people. Brad Biley, his son in the room with Kendrick. I text Frank DeAngelis. And I text John Castillo. And John joins us now. And John, I'm sorry you had to hear that total BS, but I just want to know, how are you doing today, my friend?
Well, it's a somber day. It's I was sitting in a meeting where I was told how school shootings are rare, and here we are. Here we are again.
Just today?
Just today. So the exchange you just had and the attack you fall under is something that's becoming more prevalent in our advocacy. And people, they politicize this instead of really focusing on what the solutions are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just heart-wrenching to see what's happened in Texas and these families and what they're going to be experiencing and the shock of all of this. But what we can be doing, and there's music to my ears earlier when you were talking about creating, safe schools and how we can do that. I mean, we really need to focus on that. I mean, there's so many things that come out about Parents First this last year and all these things. And
mm-hmm.
I mean, but seldom do we discuss safety, and the next event just overshadows the current one.
Exactly.
And you see that over and over.
Yep. Yeah. John Castillo is our guest. I got to ask you, and I am curious about this because I don't think I've ever asked you off the air or on, and for what you feel comfortable in sharing, but, you're in a meeting and you're hearing about how, well, school shootings are rare, and of all days, today's tragedy, the latest one happens. But I'm wondering just, as you are, you and Maria are just about 2 of the bravest people I have ever met in my life, because you have not remained silent. I last saw you out at the 3rd anniversary at Kendrick's gravesite, and you don't read off a card. It is from the heart. And here's what I want to ask you. On a day like today, for example, I mean, are you does your cell phone, blow up with texts? Do you hear from people just like me sending you, look, I'm thinking of you guys today? Do you hear from the media? How is a day like today? How does it play out for you?
Oh yeah, our phones light up immediately. We had them turned off because we were in a meeting, but Marie and I came out and turned them on, and the phones just lit up from people who are close to us. I mean, people who were involved in the STEM school shooting and want to know how our emotions are today, how we're feeling. We get messages from media. And, I'll go out and I'll speak to media outlets. I'll come on your show. I'll do whatever it takes because we need to keep this narrative alive. I mean, the worst thing I feel that can happen is communities burying their heads in the sand and wanting it to go away when we can start to have meaningful dialogue to slow down the problem.
What do you think about, I mean, and again, sometimes in this business, especially, I didn't think about that one much. I thought about it, and I thought of you, I thought of Kendrick, and I spoke it. And that was within the last 90 minutes. I think if you're not going to, as a country, if we're not going to go on the offensive, and I mean, what are we waiting for? Just to have this rhetoric the next time, there's another school shooting later this year, for example. What about, creating a federal type program where, no, if there's a school in this country, you will have these people. Look, and I know I haven't thought this out, and that may be the danger, but at the same time, no, it is mandatory. It is mandatory that if you want to continue getting state and federal funding, you must have armed security, and at minimum too, even if it's an elementary school.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly, but we haven't even gotten to the point with our society where we can call a school shooting an act of domestic terror, what it is. I mean, we were hinting around it. The Michigan one, they were working on it. This latest grocery store shooting in New York, they're talking about it a little bit. But, we haven't even gotten to that point. And, our schools receive federal grants, federal money. They're a federal institution, if you will. Under the United States Patriot Act, we can call them that. We can start making progress. Yep. But instead, I don't say we, but, our government and people choose to use this as a tool rather than to really make schools hardened and safe. And we really need to focus on that.
Is there anything, is there anything, John, that the president can say in less than an hour that, and I look, I know where you, I think where you stand, we're friends. I'm not trying to make this a political question, but literally, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, is there anything that the commander in chief can say in less than an hour that will matter?
No. And here's why I say that. Even with advocacy, even with what Maria and I do, and we get out there, it seems like a lot of times we're just not gaining traction. And words, they can be to console, they can be to do different things. A lot of people take their views of gun control or different things. But until there are laws that are followed up or things put in place that are tangible, that are solid and real, that are working, it just doesn't mean anything. I mean, and that's what happens. I mean, everybody comes out and there's a lot of talk back and forth, and then there's no action.
Amen. Finally, my friend, until, I want to put you on hold, so don't hang up. Matt has a question for you. Let me ask you, tell us, because only you know, and the horrible, tragic select fraternity that sadly you and Maria are a part of, what are these families in for over the next few hours, the next few days? They're in territory that only you would know.
Well, I'll tell you what, immediately right out of the gate, they're going to be in for shock and disbelief. I mean, no matter the outcome for them, it's going to be shock, and they're going to need people to surround them, good people, and help them through this. And then after that, they're going to have to figure out, they have funerals to plan and things like that. And they're not even knowing what they're thinking right now. It's just, they're going to be in a cloud for quite a while.
Yeah.
I can say that from our own experience. I mean, and I think it's fair to say that we went an entire year that I look back and we functioned, but I don't know how. And I think that's what these families are in store for.
My friend, my friend, I just can't thank you. And you know where my heart is, and we'll put you on hold. John Castillo, there is not a finer human being that you will meet, and certainly knows a hell of a lot more than I would. And to Mr. and Mrs. Listener, you promised that you were leaving the station. Just accused me of wearing my emotions on my sleeve. You're goddamn right. And if that's too much for you, I hope you find what you're looking for elsewhere. If you cannot, it's not even worth talking about. Couldn't do programs like this without our sponsors, like my friends at the Colorado Farm Bureau. Agriculture is such an important part of Colorado's economy, not just what they do out in those rural areas. It matters. Chances are this week you've eaten something already that had some kind of tie to Colorado agriculture. Look, right now, drought, even with our pretty wet, heavy snow over the last few days, drought is something that concerns our friends, obviously, on the Eastern Plains and Western Slope and North and South. Farm Bureau can't do anything about the drought, but they can certainly support folks. Budgets are stressed, et cetera. Stretched, I should say. And the Farm Bureau, I'm proud to be a member. And I'd like to encourage you to at least think about becoming a Colorado Farm Bureau member like me. The Farm Bureau, been around for 103 years in Colorado, made up of farmers and ranchers and consumers that support agriculture and try to find and help lend a hand and support the industry in its biggest challenges. There is no easy answer for drought, obviously, but just when you think, I don't care about them, boy, you sure would if they didn't exist. So join me. You can find out all the details, coloradofarmbureau.com. That's coloradofarmbureau.com. My name is Steffan Tubbs. Been living here for about parts of 4 decades. Personally covered about 7 or 8 school shootings on site. I've got post-traumatic stress because of it. I also have gone through a lot of hours of therapy to deal with it. And if you think that wearing your emotions on your sleeve when you're talking about the deaths of 14 kids within the last 6 hours, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders, you care and you want to make some sort of difference. For some, if you can't handle emotions on the sleeve, I would suggest talk radio, maybe at least on this station, maybe today you take a timeout or we put you in a timeout. Go talk about the avalanche. We're back after this.
Crash on the highway, jamming up. If you headed down to the tech center, you may want to stay off southbound 225. Now, the problem is southbound 225 at DTC Tamarack, 2 left lanes are blocked off. That is traffic jammed up solid back to Parker Road, right side of the highway getting by. That drive already 30 minutes. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com.
Mark Levin believes we're seeing a trend.
We don't need open borders for any reason, except the Democrat Party wants open borders, and so do their surrogates. United States of the Democrat Party. That's what I've been calling it. You're looking at it. Shortages, inflation, impoverishment, babies going hungry, people going without fuel, on and on and on. United States of the Democrat Party turns America into a third world nation.
Mark Levin, weeknights at 7 on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty.
In today's active real estate market, don't pay too much to sell your house. Colorado Flat Fee Realty is now offering a 2% option. If you were selling a $500,000 house, the agent typically charges you 6%. That's $30,000 for just a few days of work. Colorado Flat Fee Realty has a much better way. On that same $500,000 sale, you would save thousands with Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option, why would you list your house with anyone else? Pay less, keep more. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Call 303-300-9600. 9660 to find out more. 303-300-9660 or visit ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Colorado Flat Fee Realty, now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, save thousands.
Restore your bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning hair with the one solution that's guaranteed to grow your new hair. There is no one I trust more than Dr. Tanya Pauls and the team at Advanced Hair Restoration. Advanced Hair has performed more than 30,000 successful treatments using breakthrough technology that you just can't get anywhere else. Their advanced FUE treatment takes just one visit and your own natural hair begins growing the very next day. In fact, with Advanced Hair, your new hair is 100% guaranteed to grow. So boost your confidence and address hair loss once and for all by setting your free consultation today. Call 720-459-HAIR. Advanced Hair's standard of care always has and always will exceed the CDC guidelines, making this the perfect time to pursue your needs. Plus, tell them Steffan sent you for $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. That's 720-459-HAIR, or for before and after pictures, be sure to visit advancedhair.com.
Dr. Gorka here, and I want to talk to you for a minute about 100% drug-free Relief Factor. I've been taking Relief Factor for years now to help me deal with pain in my body. My wife takes it as well. The reason we tell everyone we know about it is simple. We found it really works to help our bodies fight off the inflammation that causes aches and pains. Whether it's the pain of injuries you've sustained or just the natural pains from the mileage over the years, Relief Factor can help. I've never looked back. Almost 70% of the more than 500,000 people who have tried Relief Factor end up ordering more. That's because it works for them the way it works for me. Isn't it time for you to get out of pain? Your first step to becoming pain-free should be to order the 3-week quick start for the discounted price of only $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out more about this offer. That's relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Feel the difference.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
Turning up the heat in a city already on fire. That story coming up on KNUS.
Welcome back. Our thanks to John Castillo, one of the finest human beings you will ever meet. His wonderful wife, Maria. Of course, the parents of the hero, Kendrick Castillo. And we'll get to your phone calls coming up, 303-696-1971. I hope you take this the right way. I hope this has been a tough afternoon and now into the evening for you. And I say that to make a point. When we let tragedies like what happened today in a small town of not even 17,000 people in West Texas, about 85 miles west of San Antonio, when we just hear this story and then just go, have the Rockies started playing yet? We make no advance movement toward anything. And I just want to say, and I will be fully transparent because I always am. We throw around on this program a lot, and I do, and I am guilty of it, and I don't apologize for it. The word triggered. Because it's a really hip, new, kind of within the last couple of years thing to say. I like to think and say that, you know, a guy like Juan Marcano, who continues his French vacation, oui. He gets triggered by stuff that I do. I've never met the man. I've never spoken one syllable to him. He's never engaged me on social media, which, okay, but he'll make reference like he did today, saying that Mayor Kaufman, for example, being pissed about 2 city council members on taxpayer dimes, more than a few dimes. He called Mike Kaufman or said some things and lies. And I think one of the things today was Kaufman is anti-French. Yeah, Yeah, that might be the first chuckle of the day. But see, he also said about hate radio. But I, again, cannot be a hypocrite to you. It's not in my makeup. Maybe it's to a fault. Many of them I have. But do I personally get triggered by a story like this? Another school shooting and a massacre of little children who were less than 2 days away from starting their summer 2020. I would imagine then in this fairly rural, small town in Texas, these kids couldn't wait to get out of school. They had family plans. They were 2 days away from having their last day of school. And these kids, the victims, we'll get their ages and their names. But what I understand is second, third, fourth graders. It triggers me. I remember the smells and the sights of Clement Park. Coming back to Colorado and spending 2 weeks at Clement Park. The unthinkable outside of Columbine. I got to STEM so damn quickly, they hadn't even put up police tape yet. I'm triggered by this stuff. That is not to boast or brag or to apologize. How can we not be? But with all due respect to Mr. or Mrs. Texter that even said that he or she had been listening to this radio station since 6 a.m. this morning, good God, we'd like a million more of you, ma'am or sir. I was not triggered by the text. I get people, look, we've shared many, many times over the years how much hate comes into this radio station. It's very easy to text us. It's very easy to send an email. Some actually have the cojones to wait on hold 20 minutes to try to school you on something they don't even know about because they think they remembered from years ago. That's all fine. That's part of the job. But when it comes to someone saying in a negative way, well, I'm leaving. Well, I get that all the time. I hope you find what you're looking for. Remember, as I stole from George Brockler, even I think early last week, you friends are not a captive audience. You give me, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know I am. You give me the joy of knowing that you're listening. And I thank you for that. Chances are we'll never meet, but I greatly appreciate you. But I also am human and I get paid to speak with you and give my opinion. And for somebody that can say, I'm leaving you because now your emotions are on your sleeve. Yes. Now let me share with you my mantra of life when it comes to life and work balance. I have always been. I am a human being first. And the best journalist / talk show host I can be second. And sometimes the two shall meet. And as we're about 35 minutes from the President of the United States addressing the latest, not just mass shooting, 14 children. How many more are injured right now in hospitals? If that does not bring out what are we doing here in this country? Maybe you having a reaction, maybe like me, maybe I'm the only one, but you've let a little emotion show on your sleeve as well. I make no apologies for that. And if you go by the old adage, for every text that says they hate you, there's probably 100 more that hate you, but they just won't take the time. I want to say thank you for the people that have been so kind. I'm not asking for it. I'm just trying to be human. And thank you for your texts. Because I'll use that same adage that for every one kind text, there's 100 people that feel that way, but they don't take the time or have the time to reach out. But I will not apologize ever for getting upset at somebody who's accusing me that, well, at the last big school massacre, you and your producer, you Nazi right-wing whack job, you both in defiance joined the NRA. No, I made it perfectly clear. I think personally, I made the guy look like an idiot, like truly he is. We joined the NRA live on the air years and years ago. Matt, please find out for me when Marjorie Stoneman's massacre was in Florida. We joined, I think, the NRA the next day live on the air, or the next day after that, because the NRA in its knee-jerk reaction said, school shooting, lots of people dead, February 2018. And it was Valentine's Day. You want to know why I know that? Because it was only 9 days into my job here. 9 days. We joined the NRA back in 2018 in defiance and giving the middle finger to those businesses and airlines, rental car companies, airlines, who decided after the latest mass shooting at a school, they'd take it to the NRA and stop offering their discounts because that'll help. That's why I joined the NRA. But people, you have the ability to either listen closely or barely listen at all. But I will never apologize to you for being a human being first, ever. And if that's too much, again, plenty of radio choices and listening options out there. But I speak the truth. And even though Peter disagrees, well, it's my truth. You're damn right. And I appreciate any of you that give us time. But do you honestly think that, oh boy, I just got a text that said, my emotions are on my sleeve now, so I better just switch topics and talk about Fat Tay? It ain't going to happen. Speaking of our great communication between you and me and the wall of love, for the most part, I just, within the last hour, there's a text. There's a text that says, I'm not listening to you right now. And usually when they start like that, Matt and I both know that, well, it's usually many expletives to follow. You know what this text said, Matt? Matt doesn't even know this because he's been so busy in there. It says, I'm not listening to you right now, but I am at the Black Eyed Pea with a friend of mine. Smiley face. I love that. That's awesome. Thank you. You made me smile on a day that I haven't much. The Black Eyed Pea, locally owned and operated by our friends Steve and Michelle, mom and pop. I love this restaurant, and man, some comfort food on a crappy day like this sounds great. Whether it's mom's meatloaf or grilled salmon, roasted turkey breast dinner, burgers, delicious soups and salads. You got to trust me on this. So much. I mean, almost everything that you're going to order is made right there at your local Black Eyed Pea. And savor, Matt, this is a day I might even say, I don't want any meatloaf. No. I don't want any grilled salmon. No. Man, that burger looks good. No. Just bring me right now, stat, the bowl of banana pudding. Damn it. Download the Black Eyed Pea app. I love everything about this restaurant. Help support Colorado's small business. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving me grace. If you want to stick around, we're on until 7. And our film this week, we are less than a week away from Memorial Day 2022. Just a real quick tip. Got to take a news break. Battleground from 1949. It may say on your little thingy when you search 1950, everything I've seen, 1949. Battleground, starring Van Johnson and Ricardo Montalban and many others. We're back after this.
News Talk 710. Update.
It's 53 in Denver. The 710 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, 14 second, third, and fourth grade children and a teacher are dead after an 18-year-old gunman entered an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, 80 miles west of San Antonio. The shooter is dead after he was gunned down by responding police officers. President Biden is ordering flags to be lowered to half staff until sunset Saturday. Biden will speak at 6:15 Denver time. The FTC is investigating the nationwide baby formula shortage. The inquiry will determine if there are any deceptive, fraudulent, or otherwise unfair business practices taking advantage of families. This includes price gouging or other illegal tactics. The Senate Majority Leader is defending controversial new voting laws in Republican-led states.
There's no effort anywhere in America, in any state in America, to suppress voting.
Kentucky Republican Mitch McConnell cited record levels of voter turnout in Georgia's primary elections. He said the new GOP voting laws make it harder to cheat while ensuring it's easier to vote. Wall Street closed mostly down again today. The S&P closed down 0.3%, while the NASDAQ closed down 2.33%. The Dow closed up only 0.1%. If you're going to do it right or don't bother. Call Done Right for kitchens, baths, counters, and floors, and even replacement windows and doors. 800-362-8370 or drhi.com. Wake up with George Brockler weekday mornings, 6 to 10 a.m., only on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit.
Slow drive trying to get into the tech center, jammed up southbound 225 as you pass Iliff. The crash down at
Questions is our superintendent, Dr. Hal Harrell.
Good evening.
25 to pass University. We have a crash now at past Broadway. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Their hiring platform lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews all in one place. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
Scattered areas of rain showers and isolated thunderstorms will linger through late evening. Then skies will become partly cloudy. It's going to be another chilly night, middle to upper 30s. But we're going to be warmer, mostly sunny and dry Wednesday. Highs near 70. Not as cold, low to mid 40s Wednesday night. Then we're going to be near 80 and sunny Thursday, well into the 80s and sunny on Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty, now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. I'm meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085. 800-555-2085.
The Tree Farm's Memorial Day sale going on now. Now's the perfect time to plant trees, shrubs, and perennials. Now get 25% off all sizes of shade trees and flowering trees, including aspen, maple, oak, and more. 3-year-old 6 to 8 foot tall autumn blaze maple trees now just $119.99 each. Visit thetreefarm.com. The Tree Farm's Memorial Day sale going on now. Come see.
I-25 to exit 235, then 5 miles west to the Tree Farm.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710 KNUS.
10 minutes away from 6 o'clock. There is at least one Texas state senator that says the death toll has gone up, and quite dramatically. I do not want to say any more than that because it has obviously not been confirmed. But if you are just clicking on, I don't know how by now you don't know or you have not heard about the latest school shooting, a mass murder at an elementary school in a small Texas town, not 17,000 people large, about 80 to 85 miles west of San Antonio. Look, we've got full lines. I know some of you have been very patient and waiting. We'll get to you. I promise if you're on hold, we will get to you. We are coming up on where the computer cuts us off, but we're on until 7 o'clock, and we want to hear from you. Let's get to Jim in Denver. Thank you for waiting, and welcome to the show. Good evening.
Hi, Steffan.
Hi.
Welcome to you.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's as bad a day for me as it is for you. And all I can say is we need to look at the future. The one is with your vets. And I've been there, done that, and think about the day you come home and everything.
Jim, I'm taking a big hit on your phone line. I don't know if you're still with us. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I heard the word veteran. That's about all I heard. So go ahead and start again.
Oh, let me start again. Any rate, you spend a lot of time helping and working with our veterans. That is appreciated. I go back to the minute I came back, and when I came home, I thought to myself, I live in a nation that does not have national service. We don't have a mandatory military thing like other places I've been.
Mm-hmm.
Had I have been there, all of us would have been trained in weapons and everything else. We would have a lot more respect for what's going on. But that not being said, right now I think there's probably a whole lot of good veterans and people who did 2 or 3 of their tours coming home and everything looking for something.
Amen.
I think we ought to dump it into your lap as a head veteran guy to say, let's see what we can do, and I'd be willing to help. Let's see what we can do to not only employ, but offer a new life opportunity for people coming out of the service.
Jim, I love it. I love it.
Don't have a clear vision of what they want to do yet. And with what we're paying, they're scrapping, they're looking everywhere they can for sub-teachers and everything else. We're looking. Not only that, we could bring some good military people into the service. We don't have to wait to college for ROTC. We can bring good military people in earlier so the young people see that, hey, this is out there too.
Jim, I love it.
country.
I wish I had more time. I'm going to break the rule. I'm going to say, call back later this week if you want. We will vet this out a little bit more. We have talked about this. What Jim brings up is you've got, and not as many now. They're not coming out of Iraq and Afghanistan the way they were. But right now you've got young, trained men and women that have recently been in war theaters. Put them in schools, at schools. Oh God, but everybody would be scared. To those that don't like that idea, would you rather have your kid dead, or would you rather have them come home at night? As far as I'm concerned, you can have in camo, in fatigues, have them at every school. I do not care anymore about whose feelings we hurt. I do not care anymore. Do you? Again, we're coming up on our hard break. Otherwise, we would get more calls. I feel if you have been on hold, Jim kind of got the short end of the deal because I wanted to bring him on. He'd been waiting for 45 minutes. That's dedication. I love Jim's idea. I said earlier in the program, thought to mouth. That's usually not good. We need a federal system. If they can send $40 billion to Ukraine. Wait, I thought we didn't have any money. Print more. I don't care. Nothing should be more important than our children. And if they cannot go to school without some sort of infantile percentage that they may be shot and killed on campus, well, then we failed them. And we have. We've failed them today. We'll fail them tomorrow. We will fail them next week. We will fail them next year unless something is done about it. And we must have some sort of federal, handled at the state level, every single school. Put these men and women on the lines, front lines, in fatigues. Give them an M16 if they need to. I'd rather deal with Johnny's emotional problems than go to his funeral. 1 more hour to go. Stay with us. News is next.
The Western Conservative Summit is one of the largest annual gatherings of conservatives in the Western United States. I'm Jeff Hunt. Join us June 3rd and 4th at the Gaylord Rockies Resort in Denver, Colorado.
This year's summit features former Trump press secretaries Kayleigh McEnany, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, and just added Betsy DeVos, Matt Walsh, and Tulsi Gabbard. Get tickets today at 710knus.com.
We'll see you at the summit.
Thinking of selling your home? Do you want to net the most money? What if you could eliminate your top selling expense? Hi, George Brockler here, and I guarantee that you will net the most money with my friend, realtor Gay Ribble, the Ribble Group Keller Williams Realty DTC through her zero commission program. This program is designed to guarantee that you net the most money by having the buyer pay, wait for it, all the commission. The Phillips family thought this was too good to be true until they called Gay Ribble. Within 1 day, they were under contract for $16,000 more than a previous realtor had told them they could get, and the buyer paid all the commission. The Ribble Group's zero commission program makes it easy, matching your home to one of their buyers who, again, will pay all the commission. To learn more about the zero commission program, call the Ribble Group at 833-301-SOLD. That's 833-301-SOLD, or visit Gay, spelled Gaye, hasthebuyers.com. That's Gay, hasthebuyers.com.
This is Dan Kaplis. Obviously, I hope you never suffer a catastrophic injury. If, God forbid, you're ever in that situation, please know that big cases are usually fought at a very high level, and the quality of your counsel can make a life-saving, multi-million-dollar difference in the outcome of your case. Our track record in big cases speaks for itself. We're a serious firm for serious cases. We take righteous cases on a percentage fee basis. If you need our help, please give me a call at 303-770-5551 or hit DanKaplisLaw.com. That's DanKaplisLaw.com.
It's a day to honor, to remember, to reflect. This Memorial Day, honor our fallen soldiers during the National Moment of Remembrance with Taps Across America. CBS is inviting musicians across the country to play the military bugle call Taps at 3 p.m. local time and pay tribute to the veterans we've lost. For information on how to participate in Taps Across America, go to cbs.com/taps.
Dumb.
Stupid.
Stinks. In one word, would I use hope as a strategy? Nope. If you see your friends and family struggling financially, don't hope. You'll be lucky. Text the word INVEST to the number 484848 to discover the strategies Wall Street uses every day for income in the stock market that are available to the public. Text the word INVEST to the number 484848 today to register for a free introductory class at Online Trading Academy.
KNUS Denver, a Salem Media Group station.
Hi, this is George Brockler. Join me weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. only on News Talk 710, KNUS Denver's local talk leader.
Heading into the tech center, southbound 225, still bunching up as you pass Isla, but that's looking a lot better. Crash down at DTC Tamarack, that's been cleared off to the shoulder. Have some slow traffic downtown, northbound I-25, jammed up as you pass Downing, heavy up to I-70. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Panera. So many words to describe Panera's new chef's chicken sandwiches, but just one bite will leave you speechless. Panera, the familiar made fantastic. Enjoy a $1 delivery fee when you order on their app. Restrictions apply.
Denver's local talk leader. News Talk 710 KNUS. The news now.
It's 52 in Denver, going down to a low in the mid-30s. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, multiple reports say now 18 children and 3 adults are dead following a mass shooting today at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas, an hour and a half west of San Antonio. The suspected 18-year-old shooter was shot and killed by police. President Biden will speak within the next few minutes. Scheduled at 6:15 Denver time, KNUS will broadcast the address. There have been over 1,300 individual school shootings in the United States since the 1970s, resulting in 426 deaths. In a related story, according to an FBI news report, Colorado has a disproportionate share of public shootings. Between 2000 and 2019, Colorado experienced 13 active shooting incidents, the country's seventh highest total. Not included in the FBI's definition are self-defense, gang or drug violence, or hostage situations. Abbott Nutrition is restarting production of baby formula on June 4th, with new formula expected to be ready for purchase June 20th. This news is sponsored by Allstate. Saving money feels pretty good. Allstate, better protection, costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call to agents for a free quote. On Wall Street, the S&P ended down 0.8%. NASDAQ way down 2 2.
Scattered areas of rain showers and isolated thunderstorms will linger through late evening. Then skies will become partly cloudy. It's going to be another chilly night, middle to upper 30s. But we're going to be warmer, mostly sunny and dry Wednesday. Highs near 70. Not as cold, low to mid 40s Wednesday night. Then we're going to be near 80 and sunny Thursday, well into the 80s and sunny on Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty, now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. I'm meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
Portions of the following program have been pre-recorded. A longtime newsman with an opinion. A longtime newsman with an opinion. A proud dad. An American. Supporter of our veterans and active duty military. Common sense discussion begins now. This is the Steffan Tubbs Show on News Talk 710. KNUS.
This guy. Tom Moeller is in the news center. Yes, he's retired, but you know what? When duty calls, he's here in a pinch. I wish we had more time with Tom to just come and shoot the bull. I know he understands, and we'll have more traffic and weather and news coming up on yet another tragic, sad day in the United States of America, a country that I love, and I know you do as well. Coming up in just about 10 minutes or so, we expect the president to address the nation on the latest massacre. There is a Texas senator, and I will hang it on he or she, him or her, that the death toll has increased to 18 students, 18 kids, and 2 adults. That would, if this state senator in Texas is accurate, put the death toll at 20. There are reports out there that the 18-year-old murderer, he's dead. But before the school shooting, had murdered his grandmother. This person was 18. Because on a show like this, there really are no rules. Hell, we could have technical problems. We have this, we have that. We're doing the best that we can. And thank you for those of you who have called in, who have sent text messages, to the people that want to get into a debate and critical of my performance today. I don't have the time to fight with you on Twitter. I don't have the time to fight with you on Facebook. I don't have the time to fight with you on the phone, and I certainly don't have time to fight with you via text. If you don't like what you're hearing, then you need to turn the channel and be done with it, because I'm done with it. And for all of you that are done with me saying it, trust me, I'm done. You'd be surprised. We've got a little more than 10 minutes to go. If you have been wanting to call, if you are one of the incredible people that you need to go through, and you're a saint because you waited so damn long, and we just simply have not had time to take your call, now would be a really good time to call Matt. We've got clear lines. We've got the president coming up. I will say, unfortunately, we will cut you off if the president starts to speak. We'll bring that to you live, but our number, 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. For the first time today, I'm going to start an hour, and for the first time ever on this program, I want to talk about two other things that I was going to have fun with today. And we're putting a pause. We will pick up our coverage momentarily, but I just wanted to let you know just a couple of things. So I got an interesting bit of information today. By the way, if you were half listening, this has nothing to do with Texas. Got an interesting bit of information today that apparently this past Sunday at Belco Theater was the Northfield High School graduation. Well, at a high school graduation, you do usually have some representatives from the Board of Education. Well, apparently, Fat Tay, Colorado's biggest racist, he's not happy right now, like even as we speak. I don't know if the young man has ever truly been happy. Frankly, I don't care. I guess as a God-fearing man, I hope that sometime he's happy. But anyhow, apparently some of the students didn't want to shake his hand. As you know, your name's called, you go get the diploma from, Mrs. Krabappel, and then you shake the hands and then you go on. Now, of course, we didn't do this for a while because of the pandemic, but because of Tay Anderson being who he is, apparently some of the students didn't want to shake his hand. And maybe, and I don't condone this, but there's a report that one of the students from Northfield High School looked Tay in his eye and said, F you, during said high school graduation. I don't condone that. Just don't say anything. However, kids will be kids, right? Well, Tay took to, what do you think? Of course, he took his plight to social media. I understand that maybe it's been taken down since, but what do you think he turned this into? If you said race, you win the Cupid doll. He turned it into race. Northfield High School, of course, in Stapleton, the same place where Fat Tay and his merry band of idiots, you have been warned. Change your name in a week or we're going to make your lives hell. What'd they do? Stapleton became Central Park, which will remain on my tongue, Stapleton. But Tay turned this into a race thing. So I wanted to let you know, we did reach out, thank you to Matt, earlier this afternoon before we had word of this Texas school shooting and massacre. Well, there was someone within was she a teacher or somebody within the district, Matthew? Do you remember? He's not listening to me right now. Was it a teacher? Was it a teacher you reached out to or a member of the administration? Just tell me in my ear, that's fine. It was the administration within Denver Public Schools. Now, on Facebook, this person put out, if you did not want to shake the hand of Mr. Anderson, could you please reach out to me and let us know why? We want to get to the bottom of this. We reached out to the woman today with DPS. She said, no, I decline. And she says, and I quote, we want to put this whole thing behind us. So the press, me, our show, we want to get a reaction. And she's on there on Facebook saying, please, if you didn't want to shake his hand, tell us why. And then to Matt today, she said too, she just wants to put it behind us. So there's that as we get ready for the president. Also, The latest update from, well, Gay Perry. The comrade continues his vacation with his wife. I don't know if he's going to try to do anything funny. I doubt it now because he knows he's going to get Cora'd and all of that. So I don't think he's going to try to have his wife's trip paid for by the taxpayer of Aurora. But did you know that last night? See, I thought they were back. See, No Show Murillo, his travel partner in crime, she came back early. Well, Marcano, I mean, he doesn't have a job to get back to, save for the Aurora City Council. So he actually stayed. He's extended his Paris vacation. And he had what I would call the audacity. He showed up last night via Zoom from Paris. Yeah. The Aurora Rag Sentinel called Mike Kaufman, for making it a big deal, called Mike Kaufman Mayor Karen today. And Marcano took to social media and called this whole thing Mayor Kaufman's anti-France stance, in other words, and said that hate radio, hate radio was causing Kaufman to feel this way. Well, I do have to say that Mike Kaufman hasn't been on this program in 2+ years. They deny every time we request. He hasn't been on this program. So I would guess that the hate radio that Comrade Marcano was talking about was probably NPR. Yeah. Ahead of the president, let's get to some phone calls. Let's see. Diane in Littleton joins us. Diane, please be respectful of your fellow callers and let's get to the point. Thank you and good evening.
Well, I'll try. Do you have a couple of minutes to listen?
No, we do not. No, we don't. So you don't have to get to the point. We've got full lines and the president coming up. I'm giving you the opportunity, so go ahead. And you hung up. Diane from Littleton, who apparently wrote a book on school shootings or something, will never again have the opportunity to be on this program. Thank you and good riddance. Ralph joins us. Ralph, welcome and good evening to you.
Well, ST, I think when people do this, it's defects. Do you agree with that?
I do. I think a lot of it, Ralph, I think, we look at the home life. I doubt this was a father knows best home. There may or may not have been even a male role model. We see that a lot. Go ahead.
And one other thing, when they do this, people say, how can you, little kids, they're desensitized. And I have a strong belief in that after hundreds of hours probably of watching who knows what on computer screens, telephones, it doesn't mean anything to them. I don't think there's that many who do these shootings really have any grief because they're not real people to them.
Ralph, I wish I could say I disagree, friend. I wish I could disagree, but I think that has a part of it. I really, really do. I want to give you the final word, and I'm sorry we're just waiting for the president's comments, but go ahead.
I just hope this isn't a race thing again. And it's going to continue because, like you said, even if we got rid of all the guns, it would take 200-300 years to get them out of the.
Yeah, that's never. Yeah, that is, as you well know. And
that's not going to happen.
No, thank you, Ralph. Good call. No, it's not going to happen. And that would be my one wish as I pray hard tonight. Probably part of my prayer would be for our friends on the left and the Democrats who think, see, all you've got to do is eliminate the guns. That may be just a little difficult to do in this country, and we still have the Second Amendment. If you're just joining us, possibly, look, what we need is to go on the offensive, just like we did after 9/11. If you truly, truly, truly believe in your heart, and I'm not saying you, but for those that truly believe that this should be the last and final school massacre, and it will not, let's go on the offensive. We found $40 billion in aid to Ukraine. Let's find somehow, print money if you have to, $100 billion to start. How about this? We help everybody else out around the world. They just flew in baby formula. How about we get 10 billion from the UK, 10 billion from Germany, 10 billion from France? They help us with our problem that we can't solve on our own. How's that? You don't like that? I'd take the money. But we need to federalize some way, shape, or form. We need a system. We created the Department of Homeland Security after 9/11. TSA agents flying September 10th, 2001, hell of a lot different than September 10th of 2010, September 10th of last year. Let's go on the offensive. You're still not going to stop it. But you show up on any kind of campus, you see a weapon, you're dead. Good night. Bullet through the brain. Let's get to one of our callers last hour who said, well, why don't we do this? And we've talked about this, and I'm not trying to poo-poo what the person said last hour with the idea. We've talked about to our military veterans. They're not coming back fast and furious from any war theater anymore. But I can tell you right now, guaranteed, we've got qualified and highly trained, and it costs you a lot as an American taxpayer to train these men and women who right now are looking for a job. Would they like to stay in a military type setting? Good. Sign them up. Minimum 2 of them at every school. In Havre, Montana. In Longmont, Colorado. In Tallahassee, Florida. In Seattle. In Redding, California. Everywhere. If there's a school, minimum 2. And if they're not veterans, create a federal force. Let it be handled at the state level. And if you're a school district, if you would like to continue receiving state and federal funds, you will take part in this program. And if not, you won't get any more. And if there needs to be now developed in this country 100%, we're going against this Steffan Tubbs idea. We're not going to have anything like that. Here's what I think should happen. Well, then go ahead. Put your kid in a school that every Tom, Dick, Harry, Mary, Susie, and Jane knows is gun-free. And if you feel safe in sending your child there, your grandchild, all the power to you. Good luck. We told you, we warned you. You see, this problem will never be eliminated. But maybe we could slow it down. How about this? Instead of on average of every 6 months that we talk about something like this, how about then on average of it's every 6 years? Still bad, but it's not every 6 months. Or in this case, it seems like right now, whether it's a school shooting or a mass shooting, are we averaging once a month? Once a month, I'm going to tell you, well, there was a supermarket shot up here. But when it comes to schools, there could be as many as 20 people dead in this school shooting. At minimum, 14 students and a teacher are dead, and the death toll could go up. We must go on the offensive. If not, we are not doing our children any service as the older generations. Period. John Castillo, by the way, he called us last hour. He's going to be in studio with me here coming up tomorrow, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about it with Kendrick Castillo, the hero, STEM School Highlands Ranch. We're going to talk with his dad. But we've got to do something, and again, how many, what's the president going to say in a few minutes? How many thoughts and prayers and tweets and enough is enough and hashtags of Uvalde, Texas strong, etc. How much more are you willing to take? One call. We'll try to take a break if we can. Chad in Fort Morgan joins us. Chad, welcome. Good evening to you.
Hi, Steffan. How's your evening?
It's absolute pure but thank you for asking.
Yeah, well, I mean, this sounds horrible, but the Biden administration, they're losing traction. COVID's flown the coop. We all knew there was more shootings coming. They never let a good tragedy go.
What do you mean by that, though? Are you saying this is somehow set up? Come on, man. Come on. I'm not saying I agree with you about that, but every presidency's like that.
Yeah.
This is not a mystery. Come on.
Anytime, come on, do you really think the Jason Aldean thing just happened?
Oh, listen, that's one of the great mysteries. And it's kind of like, Chad, it's kind of like our Boulder massacre at King Soopers. Wait a minute. How come we don't know more? No. You've told me the guy's crazy. No. You told me that his name is a whole bunch of consonants and a few vowels. But what do we know? When it comes to that Texas shooting and that country concert massacre, why in God's name don't we know more? But Chad, I want to focus on today because I think it's today that we need to focus on.
It's no doubt a huge tragedy, but we need, there's a lot of information that never gets, you can't get to the bottom of it
but not with every event. We got to the bottom of, at least I think, and I covered gavel to gavel, damn near 2 full years of it. We got to the bottom of the Oklahoma City bombing.
Times were different.
It was not that long ago.
So
let me ask you a question, and I'm not trying to fight with you, and I appreciate your call. Do you think that today or an event of the recent past was somehow designed and calculated and carried out by the government?
That's pretty tough to say, but I sure as heck hope a guy sure doesn't want to think that.
Please, let's not. Yeah, let's not even think about it.
Evil's evil, but I'm just saying, anytime though that, there's never a tragedy, anytime
I hear you.
They can focus on something, because don't think Biden is going to get on the TV tonight and really care about those people.
No,
he's going to push an agenda, and that seems pretty cheap to me.
You know what? Thank you for the call. I appreciate that. I'm not a big conspiracy guy, Chad, as I've said 100,000 times on this program. I'm also with feet on the ground. Let's just look at some of the facts real quick. This is a tragedy, and I'm not saying the government had anything to do with this. This is most likely, again, another troubled teenager who has no sanctity of life, right? But for those of you that are conspiracy people, let's see. The president goes on a worthless trip to South Korea and to Japan. Maybe, I guess it's just all coincidence and they're lucky in the timing that just in time for prime time, at least in the Midwest, Rocky Mountain region in the West, the president's plane lands at Joint Base Andrews just in time to set a presidential press conference for tonight to talk about the latest massacre. It's just fact. You can read into it whatever you want, but that's fact. And to Chad's point, absolutely, positively, no administration, Republican or Democrat, ever lets a tragedy go to waste. Ever. Man, if I drank, I would have a big one right now. We're waiting for the president. Obviously, he's late, so we'll try to take a quick break. It's that time of year where the air conditioner and heater may be used, I don't know, once, twice a day, once, twice a week, each of them. Right now with our friends at 888 Heating, don't get sucked dry by an old unit. They have an $88 performance check to make sure if you have an older unit, it's an excellent working order. It's all clean. When's the last time somebody did that? Optimize your energy use. Older units, though, can suck you dry. They're the biggest energy consumers. Right now, 888 has a limited time offer of $2,088 off new AC and furnace installations. They only use American Standard units, the best in the industry at the best price. They'll go the distance for you. They have for me. 888heating.com. You can schedule hassle-free. You can visit their specials tab, and you can also see other customer reviews, other fellow radio listeners that have made 888 Heating a habit at least once a year to come out for that $88 performance check. You'll get a text confirming your appointment, a picture of the tech coming to your home. Tell them Steffan sent you. It's 888heating.com. We're standing by for the president after today's latest massacre at a United States school. This one, an elementary school in Texas. Stay with us.
Problems on I-25, both sides of the highway. There's a crash southbound I-25. It's just before Alameda. Now there's 2 right lanes blocked off. Heavy and slow back to I-70. Northbound I-25 just past I-70. Trying to get a crash out of the right lane. Jams toward Downing. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. Wendy's Biggie Bag is just $5. Get your choice of a double stack junior bacon cheeseburger or crispy chicken BLT plus 4-piece nugs, small fries, and a small drink, all for $5. U.S. price and participation may vary.
Hi, it's Peter Boyles. We're in the most active season of the year right now, but if you have joint pain, you can't live like you want to. Hip pain, knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, it sucks the fun right out of living. QC Kinetics is helping our listeners get the fun back with advanced regenerative treatments from local medical professionals. Regenerative medicine takes growth factors from healing properties right from your own body, highly concentrated, then puts them back into your aching joints. This exciting in-office non-surgical treatment can repair and restore damaged tissues in your joints, giving you lasting relief from pain. QC Kinetics is a nation's leader in these cutting-edge, all-natural options, and patient satisfaction reports are incredible. 100 clinics nationwide, including right here in Aurora and Superior. Yes, get real relief, no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Call QC Kinetics right now. Learn more about regenerative medicine and get a free in-office consultation. 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986. 303-900-8986.
Perfect air with a personal touch. Only Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc. can give you authentic Lennox quality and service. They're the people you know and trust right here in our community. And for a limited time, they're offering up to $1,000 in rebates or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Lennox system for as little as $132 a month. To get quality Lennox equipment with trusted service provided by Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc., call 303-777-1234 today or visit them online at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Hello, Colorado. It's mowing season. If you live in, near, or around Castle Rock, there's a place for you to get your mowers, trimmers, and other power equipment serviced and running great. Small Engine Masters in Castle Rock can make your equipment run better than it did when it was new. They can work on just about every kind of power equipment out there. So protect your investment. Small Engine Masters will sharpen your mower blade for free. Limit 1 set per customer. So come on down and see them today at 1577 Park Street or call them at 720-301-8141 or go to smallenginemasters.com.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-711-6818 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. 800-711-6818.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
Colorado Cashback coming just in time for Christmas. The story on KNUS.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710, KNUS. Denver's local talk leader.
Standing by for the president midway through the 6 o'clock hour. Of course, George Brockler, tomorrow morning, 6 to 10 a.m. He, unfortunately, as a former prosecutor and the district attorney in the 18th, knows all too well about school shootings. George, tomorrow, 6 to 10. God willing, we are back at 3:03. Kendra Castillo's father, John Castillo, will be in studio with me tomorrow in the 5 o'clock hour. I guess I don't need to say sorry, but I do want to say sorry to you if you have called and you have received busy signals. If you have called and you were on hold forever, I don't normally have and look down at my call screener and somebody's been holding 45 minutes. Today is one of those days as we talk about the latest mass murder at a United States school. The reports now coming out of Texas, according to CNN numbers that I have seen, they have quoted both the Texas Rangers as well as a Texas state senator that the death toll is now up to 18 students. 18 lives gone. Those little kids went to school today with 2 days left in the school year. We are standing by for President Biden. He is now 15 minutes late from their scheduled time. I don't know what we're going to do, to be quite honest with you, when it comes to what happens. A little live planning there, Matt. What happens if the president starts speaking at 6:54 Mountain Time and our computer cuts us off? Well, you know what they say. Happens. but we're going to do our best. I think we need to go on the offensive. I think we need to somehow utilize our men and women who have been militarily trained. They can no, these aren't whack. For those of you that are anti-military, possibly, these are not those crazies. They just want to kill people. No. Let's use some common sense here. Your tax dollars have already funded tens of thousands of young men and women who served in Iraq and Afghanistan, who most likely, when they were asked, if they were asked, they would serve their country again in a way that they've never thought of serving their country, and that would be to protect our kids. You see, many people, and many of you veterans especially, I know you don't walk on water, but damn you, some of you come close in my eyes. If you could sign up and serve this country again, you would. It is time to stop focusing on faraway wars in faraway lands. Look, I don't know, we don't have time to get into it. You know what? Vladimir Putin, if you're going to use nukes, go for it. Try it. Just try it. For now, we need to focus on ourselves. And if they can find $40 billion to send to Ukraine, let's have that as a starting point. $40 billion right now to create a new national security force for our schools. Every single school in this country, Podunk, Iowa, to New York City, minimum 2 highly trained, do I dare say, heavily armed. We're never going to stop mass shootings or mass school shootings in this country. Never, ever, 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 ever. But we can sure go on the offensive, can't we? It is time. If after 9/11 we can create the Department of Homeland Security, we can have TSA, we can go uber security, because why? We needed to. Many of you will join me in saying, we need to do something at our schools. And to the whack job progressives on the left that want to abolish 2A and they want all guns to disappear, maybe someday they'll come to their senses, friends, and realize that you could try to take all the guns. You can abolish the Second Amendment. You will never stop mass shootings in this country. So put that and burn it forever, that kind of thinking. But we need this as a federal program run by the states. And if you don't want Johnny or Susie going to one of these schools where, no, you show a weapon, you have a knife, you will be shot through the heart, shot through the eyes. I don't care. Kill them, neutralize the threat. And if you don't want Johnny or Susie going to a place like that, then go ahead and go to your, no doubt will be highly publicized, gun-free, security-free school. And we will wish you all that feel, in essence, like I do, we wish you all the luck in the world. I hope your child survives the next day. Is that crazy talk? To many texters coming, they've done it in Israel. Let me ask you a question, friends. When's the last time an El Al airline was hijacked? Suicide bomber in the cockpit? Bad guy that went and got into Israel. Exactly. Isn't it time to go on the offensive? I'd say so. Mike in Littleton joins us, still waiting for President Biden. I have no idea what's going on. Somebody's probably having him proofread things. Mike in Littleton joins us. Good evening.
Hey, Steffan. I'm not going to take too long to say this because I know the time's short, but
go ahead.
It would take $16.8 billion to put 3 trained riflemen on every school. I'm seeing there's 140,000 schools in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You want to pay them $50,000 a year, $21 billion. I mean,
how much to pay him a year?
40 grand a year, 16,800,000,000.
Okay. Let's because and I hope you'll work with me here. I love the idea, Mike, and thank you for the math that you've done. I'm not a numbers guy. Let's make it
crazy math.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And still, any math is crazy to me. So here's the deal, brother. Forget 40,000 a year. I want that to double. These men and women will make $80,000 a year. And if we doubled let's call it $17 billion a year, quick math tells me that would be, correct me here, $34 billion. I think we could handle that. We just sent $40 billion to Ukraine. Are you with me?
That's exactly what I was going to point out, but you got me.
No. I didn't mean to steal your thunder because I love it. So you spend, and you know what? And it'll be more because there are always cost overruns. But you tell me are you a parent by chance?
I am.
Okay, let me just, if you can work with me on this. Biden's taking his own sweet time, so I want you to work with me on this. If you had Mike in Littleton is the richest guy in Colorado history. Mike, you have been so successful. You have $150 billion in your bank account. Let me ask you, as a parent, if you could have the decision, your child was killed in a school shooting, but somehow through the magic, this is probably I'm doing a bad analogy. I've had a hell of a day on the radio. But if you could, here's my point. If you could spend $30 billion of Mike's fortune to bring your child back, would you do it? The answer is, of course. You would go bankrupt to bring back your child. My point is, there is an answer, and I appreciate you doing the math because I know you agree with me. We need to go on the offensive. Money is not the factor. It's the will to go on the offensive. But if you had $150 billion to your name, you would give it all to have your child come back. So it's not a money thing. Exactly. I don't know if that made any sense, brother, but it did in my mind.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I feel like, if we could spend money here, we need to focus on here.
Amen.
And that's it.
It's about time. I love your call. Thank you, Mike. Great call. Matt, let's roll the dice here. And thank you to Mike. It's not a money thing. It's not a money thing. And it's not time to go into the weeds, but yeah, it's gross. The deficit that we have, it's unfathomable to me. But it did not impact your day today. So let's go another trillion. Look what they want to do, what they did with the COVID money. Somehow the money is there. We can do this, America. We can do this. And again, if you don't want Johnny or Susie to go to a school where you've got armed presence, go to the Tay Anderson Elementary School of Colorado. I don't care. If I had elementary school kids and today in this world, if my kids were younger and they did not have an armed SRO on site all the time, in essence, for school purposes and simplicity, 24/7, I wouldn't have them in that school. I wouldn't. And to think that these jokers, the fat Tays of the world, whether we like it or not, the vice president of the Denver Board of Education didn't want SROs, who are police officers, didn't want SROs on campus because some kids may have felt uncomfortable. Would you rather have your child feel uncomfortable or plan their funeral? I don't know what to do here, Matt. This is live planning. We're at our break time, and the president is set to come out. I'll tell you what, let's roll the dice. Why don't you, let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry, friends. I was just trying to watch the monitor. They've got a live shot of the podium, presidential podium. Why don't we do this? We'll take a quick break, and if we've got to stop it to bring you the president, we will on this tragic day in America. This is 710 KNUS.
News Talk 710. Update.
Traveling out of downtown, that wreck just cleared off the highway southbound I-25 before Alameda. That southbound I-25 drive is going to be crowded from I-70 down to Alameda, but that's going to start to get better. At the trouble spot, northbound 25 at 48th Avenue, couldn't have a wreck, the right lane blocked. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Scattered areas of rain showers and isolated thunderstorms will linger through late evening. Then skies will become partly cloudy. It's going to be another chilly night, middle to upper 30s. But we're going to be warmer, mostly sunny and dry Wednesday. Highs near 70. Not as cold, low to mid 40s Wednesday night. Then we're going to be near 80 and sunny Thursday, well into the 80s and sunny on Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty, now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. I'm meteorologist Don Day on 710 KNUS.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
More than just headlines. This is Steffan Tubbs, News Talk 710, KNUS.
President Biden just stepping up to the podium in D.C. Let's take that live. First Lady Jill Biden with him, the President of the United States.
Good evening, fellow Americans. I had hoped when I became president, I would not have to do this again. Another massacre, Uvalde, Texas, an elementary school. Beautiful, innocent, second, third, fourth graders. And how many scores of little children who witnessed what happened see their friends die as if they're on a battlefield, for God's sake. They'll live with it the rest of their lives. There's a lot we don't know yet. There's a lot we do know. The parents who will never see their child again, never have them jump in bed and cuddle with them. Parents who will never be the same. To lose a child is like having a piece of your soul ripped away. There's a hollowness in your chest. You feel like you're being sucked into it and never going to be able to get out. Suffocating. It's never quite the same. It's a feeling shared by the siblings and the grandparents and the family members and the community that's left behind. Scripture says, Jill and I have talked about this in different contexts, in other contexts. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. So many crushed spirits. So tonight, I ask the nation to pray for them. Give the parents and siblings the strength in the darkness they feel right now. As a nation, we have to ask, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done? It's been 3,448 days, 10 years since I stood up at a high school in Connecticut, a grade school in Connecticut, where another gunman massacred 26 people, including 20 first graders at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Since then, there have been over 900 incidents of gunfires reported on school grounds. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, Santa Fe High School in Texas, Oxford High School in Michigan. The list goes on, and the list grows when it includes mass shootings at places like movie theaters, houses of worship, as we saw just 10 days ago, the grocery store in Buffalo, New York. I am sick and tired of it. We have to act. And don't tell me we can't have an impact on this carnage. I spent my career as a senator and a vice president working to pass common sense gun laws. We can and won't prevent every tragedy, but we know they work and have positive impact. When we passed the assault weapons ban, mass shootings went down. When the law expired, mass shootings tripled. The idea that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and buy 2 assault weapons is just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone? Deer aren't running through the forest with Kevlar vests on, for God's sake. It's just sick. And the gun manufacturers have spent 2 decades aggressively marketing assault weapons, which make them the most and largest profit. For God's sake, we have to have the courage to stand up to the industry. Here's what else I know. Most Americans support common sense laws, common sense gun laws. I just got off a trip from Asia, meeting with Asian leaders. And I learned of this while I was on the aircraft. And what struck me on that 17-hour flight, what struck me was these kinds of mass shootings rarely happen anywhere else in the world. Why? They have mental health problems. They have domestic disputes in other countries. They have people who are lost. But these kinds of mass shootings never happen with the kind of frequency they happen in America. Why? Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why do we keep letting this happen? Where in God's name is our backbone to have the courage to deal with it and stand up to the lobbies? It's time to turn this pain into action for every parent, for every citizen in this country. We have to make it clear to every elected official in this country. It's time to act. It's time for those who obstruct or delay or block the common sense gun laws. We need to let you know that we will not forget. We can do so much more. We have to do more. Our prayer tonight is for those parents lying in bed and trying to figure out, will I be able to sleep again? What do I say to my other children? What happens tomorrow? May God bless the loss of innocent life on this sad day. And may the Lord be near the brokenhearted and save those crushed in spirit, because they're going to need a lot of help, a lot of our prayers. God love you.
The President of the United States live from the White House here on 710 KNUS. We have obviously a limited amount of time, no time for any more phone calls to react. Of course, you can react tomorrow morning, 6A to 10A with George Brockler. God willing, we are back at 3:03. Again, John Castillo with me in studio at 5 p.m. tomorrow. We will no doubt play you some of the remarks that the president just made. By my count, 5 times, for God's sake or in God's name. In the moments we have, this is not going to be my opportunity to slam the president of the United States. I'm already seeing the texts. Y'all can do that. Is the problem that common sense gun laws Well, there's common sense on the right, and there's common sense on the left. And what is the saying? Neither the two shall meet. As it was pointed out in the program earlier today by a caller trying to put me in a corner, and it just failed miserably for the caller. I'm a member of the NRA. I joined on this program live with former producer Kirk in the month of February 2018. We joined live. Some of you have been with us since then, and I appreciate that. We did not make a mockery of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Florida massacre at that high school there and said, ha ha, we'll show them we're going to join the NRA. We joined the NRA. I became an NRA member for the first time in my life as a protest, if you will, of those woke companies, even back in 2018 in the month of February, because that shooting happened, if you recall, on Valentine's Day. And then in the days to follow, we joined live on the air, not to tell somebody on the left that, ha ha, you're never taking my gun. I joined and became an NRA member because of the companies like airlines and hotel chains and rental car companies that decided, because of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, they would no longer offer a 5% discount or whatever for NRA members. Hey, get your discount. They cut that. So that's why I joined. I am a Second Amendment supporter. I also think that I speak for damn near every one of you that make our station a habit, that the hell you will abolish the Second Amendment. But at the same time, whether it is breaking into a safe like they did the murderers at STEM school, whether it is breaking into a gun store, whatever it is, these weapons are too easily accessible by people who should not have access to them. And I don't know how you ever solve that. Because I like to say all the time, I'm common sense. We try to give you 20 hours a week of common sense. Do we need to do something? Yeah. But are you willing to do something that maybe is out of your comfort zone and then maybe be chastised by your friends, or God forbid on social media? Heaven forbid you're labeled a rhino? It's a pickle. But we close out another show on this program with a tragedy. And it ain't going to be solved with 10 minutes of a presidential remark. Your angry texts, your supportive texts, your angry calls, your whatever letter to your representative. I urge you to do all of those things, but it's just not going to make a difference. But I am here to tell you, as we wrap up, we need to go on the offensive. And see, if I were your president, well, I wouldn't be voting and doing the things that this guy does, because he's not my party. But I think in the time of mourning like we're in now as a nation, and I hope that most of the country is, Mr. President, it's really not the time once again to go to the well for the 5 millionth time in your political career to talk about the big bad villains known as the gun manufacturers. It's just not the time. Go ahead and do it tomorrow, but your first remarks after you get off of Air Force One, taken to the White House, your first remarks after a worthless trip to South Korea and Japan. I'm sure the nation now is on better footing because of your trip overseas. It's not the time now. Instead, you could have talked about, for God's sake, let's go on the offensive. I'm going to meet with my Homeland Security team tomorrow morning, and we're going to create something. We did it after 9/11. Instead, it's going to be about you gun-toting Republican, and you know it as well as I do. But I also, as we wrap up, it's nice to wrap up the program, and I'm walking away from the job, so I don't have to hear the hate. Does an 18-year-old really need an access to, say, an assault weapon? Really? Why, just because they're an American? Something needs to be done, and I've said as we wrap up, especially with gun control, you're going to have to take it in the shorts, Republicans, and you're going to have to take it in the shorts, Democrats, and you're both going to have to come to some sort of an agreement, and you both get screwed. That is common ground. That's middle ground. I don't think it's going to happen. So until then, we're now on the countdown for the next mass murder and school shooting in this country. And that should sicken every single one of you. For producer Matt Steinkruger, the great Tom Moeller, Steffan Tubbs saying good night. Remember our troops and remember those little kids.
Hi, it's Peter Boyles here to remind you to be sure to log on 710 KNUS.